Hello again. How are you doing? I can finally greet you properly and tell you that this is a crusty Monday and I hate it because it's bad for intros, which I hate making anyway. So yeah, it's a bit of a mix. Believe it or not, having not worked out, not having worked out, wow, English, for such a long time, actually means that I legitimately blushed. I got not blushed, like I'm flushed right now. Which hasn't happened for as long as I've known me. No exaggerations. It is impossible for me to get flushed, you know. For my face to go red from effort or whatnot, it's like I've never seen it before. So that means I have let myself go beyond what I expected even. Tomorrow, I will adjust my workout. You should never work out and up to the point where you're flushed. You should work out a little bit less than that and go progressively from there. Though some people naturally, get flustered, or their face turns more red, when they do that. Mine though doesn't do that, and the fact that I today noticed it means for me I have to adjust my exercising. So, for example, wherever I see him go for 30 seconds, I'll be going for 20. I'ma shave off like 10 seconds, or maybe like 25%, let's say, maybe 20% of an exercise duration, and I'll go from there. That's how I'm gonna do it, and then eventually I'm gonna get back to where I need to be. But if my face is red, yeah, I'm taking it easier. That said, I enjoyed it thoroughly. I enjoyed the extra, like, feeling tired or feeling, like I've worked my body and I'm tired because of it, not really tired, The exercise, let's say, the strain, I felt it and it was good and I liked it and I had fun with it. And throughout, my mood was like super okay, super cool. I was very conscious of myself, but after a bit I kind of relaxed on that end, I guess. I still don't think I would casually just turn on my camera and be like, hello world, here it's me, whatever. I still think it needs work, but the fact that I lasted this long in front of a camera, with my hot EGirl eyes exposed as well. But then again, there is also the matter of I naturally don't mind my body being exposed. I guess it comes from clubbing very often, where because of the subculture I belong to, or I trust myself into, which is cyber goth, whatever. I usually was quite exposed anyway, so maybe I couldn't used to that. So to me, it's more like my face, my expressions, that kind of thing. Anyway, yeah, good shit. I think that working out was good. And I need to get back in shape, obviously, That said, wow, I now feel like I can't relax, in the sense of, like, between wanting more and also wanting to just lay down in bed and do absolutely nothing for like the next 3 days. It felt strange going back to working out, but we'll do it. And this is the music. The sound of coffee. Be right back. Sorry. I couldn't hold it in. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Sneezes. Oh my god. I was holding it in like so that I don't like unleash that shit in front of the guy who delivered, you know, the courier. Then I came here and I was like, okay, I can probably just do it discreetly. And I unmuted and it was like, yeah, sneeze in your ears. Yes, right. What is that like Blushie? Probably, right? Is it either that or like fuck off or something? Or I'm deaf now. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to startle you. Bless you with other religion. Yeah, good. I prefer that way. Though in my opinion, if like a priest wants to bless you with their religion's blessings, I mean, you might as well take them. You got nothing to lose. You only got to win. You got nothing to lose. So just take it. Just be like, sure, why not? You know, if I'm gonna mess with stuff, I might as well mess with stuff with a potential buff from some kind of god or something. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. As you said, though, it's between halfway between pumped and pooped. That is a very nice way of putting it. You gotta remember, and I gotta remember, and it's an important remembering thing, or thing to remember, which is the same in my head. I am working out right now. Like, it's not only that I haven't worked out for a very long time, it's also that I'm working out carrying the extra weight of myself. Because when I was working out so gingerly, as you saw me work out, I was 69, 68 kilos, 72, 74 was the absolute worst, where a little bit of a belly would show. A little bit, just very little. Now I'm close to 90, lower than 90, but very close to 90. All that extra weight, no matter the distribution, is there. And my muscles and my tendons and everything, my body is just, and my stamina is not calibrated for that kind of extra weight. And I never in my life did weight training or never wanted to. So there's also that. So wherever there is like some kind of movement, it's difficult for me to account for the extra weight being there and having to move it around, you know? So that's something I have to remember, that even though my stamina seems to be there, it gets depleted faster. That's what it feels like, because I could go on. I could feel it that I could go on. Just not exercising, because exercising specifically is a lot of repetition with the purpose of targeting specific groups, which means that there's going to be more tiredness if there is more weight or resistance. If that makes sense. I'm trying to say it in a non-like scientific way because I'm not a scientist. But it appears that what I'm describing is correct. So yeah, I can definitely feel like after more than 10 years of martial arts at a body weight of 68, 69 up to 74 consistently, I guess, it's really, I can feel the difference, like, yeah, for sure. Like with some exercises, throwing my weight around carelessly, because I know that, like, or my mind still thinks that I can recover it easily in the opposite direction, was a struggle, was a little bit of struggle. Like every movement was a little bit of struggle more. And it's not, I can tell that it's not just being out of shape, it's also the extra weight, for sure. I'm thinking of the positive, which is that when I finally get back to my ideal body weight, I'll have gotten used to carrying around a lot more meat, right? And so that means I will be probably even more... what's the word? I'll say it this way. I'll be able to last more. Okay, don't think anything funny with your funny brains, you funny people. How dare you? So, after talking about my experience exercising, I want to talk about some other guys' experiences with Guild Wars. It's been a while since I've unleashed a shitstorm upon someone whose opinions I probably won't agree with. So I'm thinking I want to shit on this guy, who I have no idea who this guy is, but hey, dude, I'll probably shit on your opinions, and it's not personal. So when I say I'll shit on this guy, I mean on this particular opinion he's going to say. I can already tell that it's not going to be something I'll agree with. So I'm telling you right now that I am biased. However, I also think there may be some merit anyway into both criticizing it, I guess, and into listening to it. So this is gonna be the typical where I'm gonna check right now the loudness.
A while ago I submitted my partner program application, but I
Alright, it sounds like it's okay for you. Maybe a bit less. Here.
never got a reply. And after this video, I don't think
This should be okay for you, I think. Maybe even less, maybe here.
I'll ever get one, because we're gonna take a look at some of Guild Wars 2's gems.
There? Is that okay? Like, are you comfortable with this? You should be, because like it seems like according to my
practices.
noisometer,
ArenaNet is far from the only company doing this.
Seems great. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna leave it there. Alright. Okay. I'm gonna increase my volume on my end, because on my end it sounds pathetic, like whimpering or something. Not the person, it's the sound, like it's too low. So like somebody's like talking in the next room discreetly. So I will just be muting myself, and I'll be pausing and unpausing just to comment. So this is gonna be interesting. I think K is the... Yay! Okay. Got you. I'm gonna mute myself. Let's rewind this. Intro is gonna be interesting as well. Haven't listened to it, so we're gonna listen to it like first time right now. Okay, let's dive into it.
Alright, a while ago I submitted my partner program application, but I never got a reply. And after this video, I don't think I'll ever get one, because we're gonna take a look at some of Guild Wars 2's gem store practices. Now don't get me wrong, ArenaNet is far from the only company doing this, but I'm a Guild Wars 2 player, so that's what I'm gonna be looking into.
ArenaNet is also justifiably loaded as one of the companies. I won't say the top company in that category, but one of the companies whose gem store is actually quite fair. And by actually quite fair, I will say it is not pay to win, at least not by my definitions. And the pricing, I feel, could be a little bit cheaper on some things. There are things on it that you definitely don't want to buy ever, but that's why I wanted to make a parenthesis here and say it is one of the most fair shops I've seen in a game, but you also have to know how to navigate it. You have to be informed. Otherwise, what this guy says could be seen as accurate. It could be argued that, like, they have predatory practices in the form of like they're selling you something that is very easy to obtain in game, you just don't know it yet. Or for example, and from that I'm gonna exclude practices such as dumping a lot of container items on you, which in turn contain even more containers sometimes, and then they contain loot. And it is obvious that this is made so that you actually have to buy more inventory space. I'm not counting that anymore because I don't think I know of any free-to-play game or buy-to-play without a subscription which doesn't have some kind of inventory fuckery to guarantee that you're at least going to pay a little bit more than the admission price. Especially completely free-to-play games are far more predatory in that regard, specifically with inventory size. So I had to get that out of the way first, and let's go on.
And if you think I'll mainly focus on quality of life purchases being forced upon us, you're wrong. Well, not entirely, but those are only the tip of the iceberg. First, we need to understand why ArenaNet would prefer to use gems instead of showing you a dollar amount whenever you...
Okay, so the quality of life stuff, yeah, that's the stuff that you want. Like, I'll be addressing, instead of this time, instead of like criticizing this guy, maybe I'll attack the arguments itself themselves, and instead, maybe even instead of that, I'll give you solutions to them. So, quality of life upgrades, learn how to make gold. I'm not gonna teach you how to make gold right now. It's common sense how one can make gold in Guild Wars. You just don't know it yet, but it's really just common sense. And it's easy, as long as you're not some kind of like depraved degenerate who can't for the life of themselves make friends ever, and is the kind of person who just is dislikable and despicable in general. And unless you're that kind of person, you can make some friends, and if you have some common sense about you, you're going to learn how to make gold easily. I hope, for your sake, because as far as I'm concerned, it's pretty easy. And I passively make, and when I say passively, I specifically mean just by playing the game. Literally just by playing the game. So doing things that I like. I make passively about 1,000 and more gold per month. If you are playing Guild Wars, you know that this is more than enough for you to get by. And that is like without actively pursuing CM strikes or CM raids. My group is just now starting to really shape up to CMs and try to include them in our routines. So far, and also I'm not like spending the whole day hunting metas, for gold. I do that for now because now I want legendary armor. It's still like an ongoing project, of course, and I need the currencies, and that's a different thing. But before that, for example, I would be making passively just by doing activities I enjoy 1k a month. So with 1k a month, you can definitely afford yourself, maybe not immediately, but you can definitely afford yourself the conversion of gold to gems and gems to quality of life items when those are on sale. And if you're a new player especially, if you're not waiting for sales, and if you are way too focused on quality of life, take a spoon, find a nice big turd, and eat some of it. Okay? Enjoy the game, enjoy the fucking process, don't worry too much about all that shit, okay? Or just eat shit and shut up. So, instead of making uninformed videos and whining about Guild Wars. So yeah. It's nice. I managed to make the same happen with EVE Online. It's nice for it to pay for itself. Yeah, it is. It's a bit of a journey to get there, and it takes some dedication. And most players don't have dedication because most players are like literally fucking energy drink fueled, confused femboys that are like unable to think for themselves, and they actually enjoy that, I think. And I have nothing against that, like more power to you, but as far as gaming goes, you're fucking cooked. You're fucking cooked. You're done. When I see people on forums asking, I bought Guild Wars, and now it's on my HD, and then I don't know what to do. What do you even do? What to do? Tell computer what to do. Nobody's gonna tell you what you're going to do. Play the fucking game, dude. I don't fucking know what to tell you, just play the fucking game. If you don't know what to do in the game, you're done. Nothing I say will save you. So, yeah. Obviously, all my solutions are addressed and concern only people who, you know, kind of buy a game and then play it and then enjoy it a lot. And then after like a month or two, they're like, I'm pretty sure I can do more with this and I want to do more with this. How to do this? Teach. Then, yeah, whatever I say will have some value. Otherwise, whatever I say just falls on deaf ears, and in particular pairs of ears that are not gonna be there 24 hours later. So it doesn't really matter to me. As long as they don't make dislikable videos that are uninformed, I'm fine. And I'm not implying this is uninformed. I haven't looked into it yet. So far, though, I'm not really positive about it. I'm just neutral. I'm just neutral and I'm just examining like what the guy is saying. But let's see further.
You make an in-game purchase. It's not that they can, by the way, because we can buy expansions with money. It's that it's probably not that beneficial to them. Now, there are various reasons as to why any company might prefer to deal in premium currency rather than using...
I think he's going to go the roundabout way. Yeah, I'm gonna skip all of this. I can tell you right now that what he is saying in the first two segments, though we are going to take a look at the second one, but at least in the first segment, what this person is going to address is a practice which I don't agree with. I don't find it honest. Okay, I don't really find it honest, but at the same time, I'm biased because to me it does nothing. But I can see it from the side of somebody who is concerned with that. So what he's saying is that basically you want to spend $10 to buy something, but they're forcing you to spend 10.5 to get the equivalent of gems for $10. Meaning that you're left with some extra gems, right? They've gotten that extra bit of money, which is like just a little money on the side, but it's still extra bit of money, which initially you didn't want to have to give, but you're forced because the gems cost a little bit more for a little bit more gems than you would need for your minimum to get your purchase. Does that make sense? And so therefore, since now the gems are sitting in your inventory, you might be coerced and say, hey, I'm only missing X amount to buy that other item, which also seems nice to me. Why don't I just buy more gems to round it up and then buy that item? And then you try to do that and you can't, because now your sum is not round again because you've bought a little bit more. So they've gained a little bit more and you have some more pixel crack than your requirements, you know, demand. And now you're buying that other item, and now you have more gems, and you see what's going on. Okay, so this is this can be considered predatory, let's say. And the fair thing to do would have been to have a slider and be like, one gem is X dollars. How many gems do you want, sir or madam? And then they give you exactly that amount, and then you spend exactly that amount, right? That would have been the fair thing, but that's not how this works. Sadly, all right? And it's a fair criticism. However, when somebody attacks a specific game for it, I can't help but feel that this is also not fair, because this is... the practice in general is not fair. You cannot pin it on the game. Sure, they could have chosen not to do it. But would you as a company choose not to do it? You know, you want to make money. I don't like it, honestly. The only reason why I'm soft with it is a very subjective reason, and I recognize that, and I'm okay with it. And the reason is that, like, I generally have a weakness to cosmetics. So having a little bit of gems on the side is always something that I will use for something. So long term, in cases like mine where I consistently spend some money on the game, at least some money on something that I like, it's good to be able to do that, because I know for a fact that a few days down the line, not a few days, but like a month or 2 months, 3 months, whatever, they are definitely gonna release something that I will want. And Guild Wars, for better or worse, they're releasing stuff for our wardrobe, so cosmetics, which I actually enjoy a lot. So there is a lot for me to buy all the time. That's why I'm not feeling the impact of wanting to buy one item every once a blue moon, and then having that leftover gem and gem currencies, quantities, and then thinking I can't spend it, and I didn't want it, and I paid for it. Because in my mind it's like, I won't spend it now, but probably in a month when I get like the top part of the trousers that I really liked, I'm gonna use those gems, and I will want to have surplus gems for when they also release the gloves and when they also release the boots and whatnot. Like, and this is a little bit ongoing. This isn't to say that I'm addicted to spending or that it is gambling or something. It is to say that this system, I am the perfect, let's say, target, if you can say it like that, for this system. Because not only does it really work well with me, since my tastes coincide with what ArenaNet releases as cosmetics, but I also feel that I'm not being cheated, because I know for a fact that down the line I will want something else, for sure. Just because I really like the direction they're taking with their cosmetics right now. So all this system is making me biased. But I absolutely understand and agree that all games should have a slider, and they should let you have exactly as much as you want. Not more, not less. Exactly as much as you will need to make a purchase. That's it. And the only reason I'm saying don't bash Guild Wars 2 too much for it is because in other regards, with other MMOs fail hard, it actually succeeds when it comes to its store, to its cash shop. So honestly, I can't fault it too much. It's like, okay, you get that one for free. It's not good, you're on thin ice, but considering the overall, treatment of your customers, I'd say fine. It's not offensive, it's not a reason to be offended. It's fine, and I'm also biased, as I said. So I think it's like unnecessary to listen to someone saying Guild Wars does this, because yeah, Guild Wars does this, but the problem is much larger, and it's really nitpicking at this point, considering that the price in general is fair. So yeah, I don't know, I'm not gonna listen to it. I'm gonna dismiss it. And what you're saying is, yep, really common to force conversion to different currency, also because it's harder to keep track of. Doesn't feel like real money. Yeah, exactly. Common in retail. Steam uses actual currency, does not have a slider for a specific amount, unless you do sneaky JavaScript. Yeah. It's really common. I'm not saying it's good, but it's common enough that I wouldn't pin it on a video about Guild Wars. On a video about Guild Wars, I would want to hear someone point out what Guild Wars specifically does that makes it predatory, like specifically Guild Wars. That's because he's saying ArenaNet's predatory practices. This is everyone's predatory practices. Doesn't make it okay, but I'm expecting a critique on Guild Wars, not a critique on like the system in general. So that's why I'm gonna dismiss it, because I don't want to discuss the this practice in general. I want to discuss what this guy thinks is wrong with Guild Wars as a shop specifically. I'm gonna jump over to price mismatch and we're gonna continue from there. I'm hoping this is not gonna be a generic complaint.
Gem amounts do not line up with most purchases at all. If you want a singular infinite gathering tool, then you have two options. Either you buy the $5 and $10 pack separately and you'll have 200 gems left over, or you go for the much more convenient $20 pack instead, leaving you with 600 extra.
May I also note something else? The extra gems, and this is... I'm playing devil's advocate, okay? But if I really wanted to be fair, I could counter with... You can convert those gems to gold. Or you can make more gold into gems, and then your leftover gems will help you reach a certain amount that you may want. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying it's not as bleak, because I personally know only of one other game who does this, who allows conversion of in-game currency to gem, to cash shop currency. And that is Warframe, and I don't know of any other game that does this. Anyway, so that's why it hurts less in the case of Guild Wars. So in his effort, this person, in his effort to attack these practices, he's being misled. Because, first of all, it's a common practice, it's not a Guild Wars practice. Guild Wars does engage in it, but it's not a Guild Wars practice, so this is kind of... The way that he's wording it is my problem, because it implies that only Guild Wars does this. Or that it is a huge issue with Guild Wars only. I don't like that. Also, I don't like the fact that he doesn't mention, like, he isn't being fair by mentioning what I mentioned. Like, yeah, you have some leftover gems, but now your leftover gold and your leftover gems can be combined to allow you to buy something that you may have otherwise succumbed to this practice for. I hope your brain can process what I'm saying, okay? And I'm sorry for being condescending, but when I say I hope your brain can process it, it's more like I explain things like a fucking baboon, so I hope you can understand me, I hope it makes sense. I'm not saying you can understand me, I'm saying I hope I hope you can process what I'm saying. Okay, I'm not attacking you, by the way, just saying that. Just to be clear, because sometimes this can be misconstrued, the way that I say it, kinda. Anyway, and if I do say it directly, you'll know it, and you'll know it's for fun, and I'm messing with you, because you're nice people, okay? So don't get, calm down. I'm not calling you stupid. I'm just saying I hope what I said makes sense.
And what would you do with those leftover gems? Keeping them for a future purchase is probably the best idea, but most people are gonna spend them simply because they're there. A second option would be to effectively waste them. If you have more than 125, you could maybe buy a blackline chess key, or maybe you choose to convert them to gold. Not a big deal, but that amount really starts to add up if you're the kind of person who buys gems a couple of times per year. A third option is realizing that those 600 gems...
Okay, he did mention that you can turn it to gold, okay. And then he mentioned, or before that, he mentioned something I take issue with, because it appears this video is addressed to cretins. Because if he's saying, oh, it might entice you to buy something you don't need just because it has the same price tag as your wallet's amount, that's a you problem. That's not a shop's problem, that's a you problem. You just need discipline. And I'm gonna be your mommy. But like, listen, no, for real. It's on you to resist this. Yes, it can be predatory. Yes, somebody might, I don't know, succumb to it. But in all honesty, it sounds like a you problem. I'm not gonna victim blame, because there's no victim here. You just saw the price and thought, oh yeah, why did I buy this weird thing that I'll never use? That's you being a moron. I'm sorry. It's just you being a moron. It's no one else. It's just you being a moron. Like, nobody's taking advantage of you in this case. It's not like, it's not victim blaming. Nobody victimized you. Just be patient and buy what you need. Don't buy what you don't need. Like, how is that like... When you were a kid, right, and your mom would give you like your allowance, if you spend it all in one go and you just went and bought like 50,000 chocolates, and you also ate them the same day, and then you were like, oh, but now I can't buy that one chocolate that I wanted yesterday. It sounds like you're a moron to me. Nobody fucking victimized you. Are you gonna, you know, in those cases, did you actually call your mother and tell her, hey, this guy is not letting me buy more chocolates with my non-existent money? Like, you mismanaged. That's it. I'm sorry, you goofed. There's no victim blaming. There's no blame. There's no victim. You just done goofed up. I'm sorry. Don't do it. That's the solution. Just don't do it. It's simple as that. Think for yourself a little bit. Anyway, going on.
gems you now have left over is just 400 shy of getting your second gathering tool. It isn't all bad though, because we can also convert gold to gems. So if you're a savvy player that knows how to make gold, you can...
Like, you know where that ends, right? If you go down that line of, it's not my fault, the other guy is putting it for sale instead of giving it for free, and I'm not having money, so that other guy is predatory, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna cheat. That's where it leads. That's where bots are born. And they farm gold AFK, which is illegal, and then they sell it for gems. Taking advantage of the system, and then they buy whatever they want. And then they go like, oh, this is not my fault, it's predatory practices. The predatory practices told me to do it. Get the fuck out. I really dislike this video so far, for real. Like, fuck you, dude. Get some common sense. Don't buy what you don't need. It's like, come on now. Skipping on, I'm sorry. This is just dog shit. Skipping on. Let's find something good.
the answer. Because how would you feel if you realized you spend over 5,000 or maybe even over 10,000 on the game despite never feeling like a so-called MMO whale? Chances are you've done this if you've been playing the game for over a decade without even realizing it. If you've been playing for as long as the game has been live and you've chosen to spend about $50 per month on average, then you'll have spent $600 per year. Since the game's been out for over 12 years now, that gets us to about 7k total, excluding the cost of the base game and however much you've spent on the expansions, of course. And let's also not forget about needing to buy those...
Excuse me, is this guy like really just... This isn't how this works. This is not how it works. This isn't how this works. This is like saying, wow, dude, do you know how long you're gonna be sleeping throughout your whole life on average? Insane. It's a scam. Where will this time go? Imagine sleeping for 3 years. Where will this time go? This is the logic. Like, oh my god, over 12 years you spent this much. Yeah, I could afford it at the time. I spent it. At the time it wasn't, nobody asked me for $50,000 in advance. I was in control of what I was spending and I enjoy spending it. Of course it's gonna add up because things add up. Like the numbers you take, you know, the number of times you take a shit amount to, I don't know, a whole city block full of feces. And because that sounds smelly to you, you're just never gonna shit again. Like, what kind of logic is that? Yeah, of course you've spent a lot. Have you considered how much you've spent for your family? Have you considered how much you've spent on food? And obviously, Guild Wars isn't as important as food, but like, it's also escapism, which is quite important. It's any game. I'm not even defending Guild Wars here. I'm defending any game and any activity for which you can have a clown like this guy, or rather, let me not say that, but like clownish opinions like this one's, telling yo, you spent like more than $1,000 on World of Warcraft. It's absurd. It's just a game. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. It's like it happens over time. It doesn't work like that for real. It works like that if you are like a higher up in ArenaNet and you're only concerned about numbers. And you see the averages and it's like, yeah, every player stays there for 10 years, spends this much, and you go like, oh, okay, we're making money. Can I improve that? Can I fix that? Can I whatever? You as a consumer, you don't need to concern yourself with that because at the end of the day, you're spending like an amount of money that is like considered normal for the price, for the product that you're getting. Like, how is this logic sound? I don't understand. Yeah. Do you know how much you're gonna pay for your car to keep it operational for like more than 10 years? Does that mean you shouldn't buy a car if you need a car or if you want to drive a car and you like cars? Is that the logic we're using? Because if that's the logic we're using, we should stop doing anything. Because, for example, throughout my life, because I like gaming, PC gaming, and I have owned more than like 10 rigs in my life throughout, that amounts to like, I don't know, $10K easily. Should I just shit myself and go like, oh, I'm stopping gaming? It's Satan. It's Satan, dude. It's draining my soul. What kind of logic? This is so bullshit. This whole video is just dog shit, isn't it? I kind of agree with what he says at one point where it would be nice to inform you of how much you're actually spending. However, when you're going to buy gold, hi Neris, when you're going to buy gems, not gold, you can see the price that you're paying. You already know that you want to give about $50 to $60. You click on the appropriate gem number. You know that you've spent $50 to $60. Now these $50 to $60 are gems. And the $50 to $60 being gems doesn't mean that you spend more than the $50, $60 you wanted to spend initially. Nobody tricked you. You wanted to spend 60, you spent 60, and now the shop is showing you the numbers in gems. What is crazy about that? You know exactly how many gems you want for the items that you wanted to buy, so not seeing the numbers in dollars doesn't really affect you because you already saw the number in dollars when you were buying the total amount. These arguments are these arguments can be dismantled very easily. Now, if they didn't show you, let's see something here. What he does here is he adds this, yeah, but this is exactly what you see when you click on this. If you click on this, you'll see the prices. He shows it in the video as well, somewhere. Right? Somewhere he just shows it, right? There. Gems, X amount for Y dollars. It is huge. You cannot miss it. You have to be fucking blind to miss it. To their defense, this is more visible than this. This is more visible than this. They're not trying to hide it. They're like, it's easy. Press here and you convert your dollars to gems. It's that easy. Nobody's trying to hide anything from you. ArenaNet is not out to get you. This is absolutely horrible. This video so far is fucking horrible. And I fucking hate it. Let's go on.
If you're not the kind of player who spends gems monthly, but rather when you feel the need to upgrade a character, for example, you can get there just as fast. See, ArenaNet is great at selling quality of life, especially when it's time to try out new professions. To showcase this, let's start by looking at a basic character which comes...
This is fucking copium. ArenaNet... Okay. This is insulting to anyone who has over 10 IQ. Guild Wars has not released and will not release a new profession. These professions that this person shows have been there for years. Guild Wars is the easiest and most accessible game to actually raise an alt character. It can be done within 1 hour and they will be max level and they will need nothing. They don't need anything unless you decide to main them. For example, in which case you might start concerning yourself with more inventory. But wait for a sale, learn to make gold, and buy through gold if you want to be one of those people who pats themselves on the back whenever someone asks, have you spent any money on this game? And you go like, no, but I own everything. More power to you, my dude. It won't happen overnight, but it can happen. So, you know, but crying about ArenaNet having predatory practices based on like new profession. Oh my, this video is dishonest. You know what? I fucking hate it. It's dishonest. Moving on.
with a 20 slot bag already equipped and 4 extra slots. The 20 slots will fill up really fast, but equipping 4 more bags isn't too expensive and should be enough for most new players. Now when you're playing that character most of the time, bag slots will eventually be one of the first quality of life purchases you will consider, and they're conveniently priced at 400 gems each, which doesn't sound too high. If then
I will correct this person and I will present the solution to his problem. Learn how and work towards crafting the myriad of backpacks at this point, tens. I think there are 10 maybe, and one or two of them you can also craft multiple times, even though they're expensive to do. You can start working towards them because you're not meant to rush through Guild Wars. You're meant to enjoy the process. It's one of those games, because if you try to rush through, you're gonna burn out, which is what happens with a lot of players. Because their mind goes like, oh, legendaries, day one legendary. Oh my god, I made my first shiny weapon, and then you know they don't understand that like that shiny weapon is nothing but a skin. It means nothing. You're a moron, and you burned out on one thing that will do nothing for you instead of going for armor, or for accessories, or for your backpack. Like you're stupid, literally stupid. Literally stupid. And so this guy is doing the same. Oh, I want inventory space. Okay, you moron, educate yourself. Find out how to get free inventory space. Like, subscribing to Arena's newsletter already gives you like a large backpack that is like 24 slots, I think, maybe more, maybe less, I don't remember. There are many backpacks that you can obtain in-game and craft them as well multiple times that will give you more space. And don't invest immediately on free slots. Don't invest, sorry, not free slots, bag slots. Instead, buy the fuck out of shared inventory space. And I'll explain to you why. Shared inventory space is shared between your characters. Most of the items you need to be transferring around will now not take space in any of your character's inventory, because they're in your shared inventory slots. And inventory slots, shared inventory slots that is, increase per expansion as well. So you get more of them free by default with every expansion. So eventually you're gonna have a significant amount of space which all your characters will share. So to me, shared inventory and maxing it out should be your first priority, and you should wait for it to be on sale. And if you want to be the coolest guy ever, be the coolest guy ever. Don't pay for it. Learn how to make gold and fucking buy it. It's not that crazy expensive when it's on sale. It's fine. It's absolutely affordable. And if you don't mind it, if you don't want to work and you want it immediately, then fine. Just use your money and buy it, whatever. And then maybe you can buy like a couple of bag slots if you want. If you want. But 400 gems, so $5. On one hand, that's just a beer, right? And you all fucking noobs, 20 to 25 years old, you don't even drink anymore. You're pretending to be some kind of like a super healthy, gaming enthusiast. Where are those $5 gonna go anyway? Might as well fuel the game that you like. And yeah, I said it, fuck you. So what? If you like it, give it your money. That's how I work. I don't pay subscription for it. And I enjoy Guild Wars. For as long as I'm enjoying it, I do feel compelled to be like, hey, it's a cool game. I'm gonna buy this cosmetic. I don't fucking care. If I have the money, you know. If I have the money. And I can afford it. Otherwise, I'm just gonna convert. I've told you before, I have like... there's a player in my guild, Lara. And I'm pretty sure she's not the only one doing this, by the way. She's not ever thrown money at her screen. Not once. And she has like far more outfits than I do. And she's fine in terms of space. And she's got infinite gathering tools. And she's doing fine. Absolutely fucking fine. So I don't understand where these fucking allegations are coming from. Or their point of view. So yes, I end up like disliking the video more, I suppose. With every passing second. One new class every 9 years is insane. Yeah, I know, it's like, it's absolute light speed.
At one point you decide you want to max out your bag space, you can buy up to 10 extra slots, meaning you probably won't ever run out of inventory space again. So let's say we decide to splurge and spend 4,000 gems, because we feel that this character, this profession is the one. That will bring our tally to $50. A big selling point for Guild Wars 2 is the ability to change builds and gear on the fly, allowing you to cover any rolling group content or swap back and forth between open world builds without the hassle of having to drag multiple gears.
Has he, so I have to wonder right now, has he done this on purpose, like this?
So on, or having to redo your skills and traits without the hassle of...
Wait a minute, I gotta see this. I'm sorry, I gotta see this. This is like insane. He's insane. This is insane. This is insane. If he spent money on this, I'm gonna say this. Like, if he's having trouble, if he... What is this, my dude? What is this? 1, 2, 3, 9 fucking bill. Like, what are you gonna do with this? I'm starting to see what kind of player this is and why he's having issues. He's one of those players who want to have like 50 alts just because they don't want to change their builds for the same character. They want to make a character that is a warrior, that is a healing warrior, and then instead of like increasing the hero points on that character, they make another character who is also a warrior, but this time it's like a berserker. This is insanity. It is completely unnecessary. His argument is based on this, I can definitely tell you. And it is so easy to dismantle. Starting by what Neri said, which you can use a text file to just copy the code of your templates. If you are a fucking lunatic like this guy, this is lunacy. This is not normal. Get this shit looked into, you know? Get this looked up by someone professional. This is like insane, I'm sorry. This is insane. Get it looked by some professional gamer to teach you not to be so fucking sloppy with your builds. Like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? This is like, it's stressing me. It's triggering my stress reaction. This is insanity. This is literal insanity. You're insane. So I'm not gonna watch this shit anymore. Moving on. Future purchases? Okay, I'm curious. And what he said about the bug expansions. As a new player, you don't need that many bugs. That doesn't concern you. You're not gonna spend $50 on a character. You're insane if you do that. You're insane if you do that. Your priorities are screwed if you do that. Just play the game. Get some fucking what you call it? Some fucking gold. Don't worry, it's gonna be fine. You'll buy one bug expansion. Then next month you're gonna buy another. Nobody's gonna rush you, okay? Nobody's rushing you. And if you go like this guy goes, like, oh, but then it's gonna be $50,000 by the time the world ends. Yeah, you might have, you know, troubles enjoying life with that kind of mentality. Because that mentality is like, oh, I'm gonna spend 3 hours eating. 3 hours? More like 3 years constant eating. Imagine that, I should stop eating. Like, this logic is just completely garbage. It's fucking hot garbo. It's hot garbo. So just fucking enjoy the game and just learn how to play it. And stop fucking crying. I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, okay. Let's go on, I guess. I wonder what this is about. This seems curious to me.
Spending money in this game is made very easy, by the way, because ArenaNet is kind enough to allow us to save our payment information so that we don't have to look for a credit card every single time, and PayPal also allows us to link our bank account so we don't have to charge up our account for every single purchase. This, once more, is not unique to Guild Wars 2. Have you ever wondered why mobile games give you that new player bonus pack of premium currency almost for free? Or why they sell those value packs, which we also have in Guild Wars 2, by the way? Not
You know what? I'll let him finish.
necessarily because they want to kickstart your account, but it sure does help you register your payment information for a future potential.
So this guy is saying that starter packs are psyops to convince you to give them your credit card information, which you would anyway because you want to make purchases. Is that so? Is that the argument that like the starter packages are psyops to get your credit card in for? Okay. All right, let's hear it. Giving it one more chance.
Items I really dislike, because I feel like it's taking advantage of players with less game knowledge and newer ones in particular.
If you don't have, so to all new players out there, please, regardless of the game, don't listen to this lunatic, okay? But listen to me. Regardless of the game, if you're a new player, the last thing you want to do is open the gem store. Don't open the gem store. It doesn't concern you because you don't know what you need yet. Okay, you don't know what you need. You don't know what you're gonna need in like 1 week. You don't know which resource is rare. You don't know how fast you level in this game. You don't know anything. What the fuck are you doing shopping for a fucking street, super bike when what, where your levels are riding a bicycle home? Can you explain that to me? Like, what the fuck are you doing browsing for, like, I don't know, stethoscopes when you're barely a doctor or anything even remotely close to that? What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? For real. That's all I'm gonna say to you. Educate yourself and then experience the game and gauge for yourself what and when and if you should be spending. Or you're going to succumb to one of two things. Either fear-mongering, which is what this guy is trying to do, okay? Or you will succumb to predatory practices. It's that simple. You can't force educate people and you can't protect them from their stupidity. Which is why stupidity is important, because you can make money of it. Now the question is, are you gonna be stupid? That is your personal fucking choice, barring any pathologies, right? In which case, what I'm saying doesn't concern you, and it's not about you. But barring any pathological, scenarios, any pathologies, choose to educate yourself. Don't be stupid. Boom, done.
There is a whole assortment of items you can spend your money on that will only give you a temporary boost at best, or are a very expensive way to progress a character. Big one, loot boxes, which Guild Wars 2 not only has in the form of Blackline chest keys, but also die kits and mount selection licenses.
The reason why I'm sighing isn't because some grand revelation, oh, he got us, guys, we're busted, I can't fucking counter the argument. It's because there are so many things to say about this, in Guild Wars in particular, that I don't know where to start. Okay, a few important things. First of all, as a new player, again, you don't need to concern yourself with Black Lion keys and chests, okay? You don't need that shit. It does nothing for you. It does nothing for you. It has some cosmetics in there. That's it. Be patient, okay? So, beyond that, let's start dismantling this. You can get up to 3 keys per week for free. That's one argument. Second argument, you can buy them with gold. And they do go on sale. Okay, so third argument, you're a moron if you're buying die kits. But that is because you're not informed. What did I just tell you? That's your own stupidity. Educate yourself, inform yourself. Okay, don't buy it. All right, every shop is gonna have noob traps. Restaurants are gonna have noob traps. You know, clothing stores are gonna have noob traps. It is what it is. I'm not pro low key or soft scamming. I'm not. But also part of it falls on you because you're not a victim. You're just uninformed, and you think you are informed. You think you know what you want. The best victim for someone who is in sales is someone who thinks they know what they want. It is so easy to fucking get to you. You're dumb. But you think you're smart because you think you know what you want. But in reality, you're a fucking victim of yourself. So, Desert Racer mount adoption license. Just buy the mount itself. Buy the fucking mount. Why do you want to buy the random ticket that gives you a random skin that might or might not be the skin? You buy the fucking skin. Oh, but it's not in the shop. Wait for it to be on the shop, dummy. Okay? Wait for it to be on the shop and wait for it to be on discount on the shop, dummy. Okay? What can I tell you? And these so-called loot boxes, my god, they are so not pay to win. They're literally cosmetics. They're literally cosmetics, which you can get with in-game currency. So fuck this guy, or rather, fuck this guy's opinions, because I'm not gonna watch any more of that shit. I was so expecting that. Like, what the fuck was I expecting to see there? That was insane. Why did I even watch that? I knew from the start what was gonna happen. Like, this... all that shit is like... cloud. This is like cloud. This is like... Guild Wars is a hot topic, kinda, because people were talking about Guild Wars 3 and like Guild Wars 2 dying, and it kind of like, it raised the controversy and the new expansions launched, and you know, it's a thing, and people talk about Guild Wars a little bit more lately, and everybody's making videos, everybody and their fucking mother's dogs are making videos about it, and they're all fucking uninformed dog shit. And fucking grifters are out there coming out from a woodwork saying like it's so dead, it's so bad, just because people are talking about it, and they're like, oh, now people will listen to my miserable opinion more, let me make more videos right now when it's popular. And all this fucking snowball of videos about Guild Wars definitely means that statistically most of it is going to be dog water. You know what? It is. It's a giant fucking piss balloon. And I can't wait for it to pop. And even on the forums right now, people, it's not that people are negative, because I've told you about it before, because actual players don't give a fucking shit about all this shit. They're just enjoying the game. Nobody's fucking angry at anyone. But I have noticed some people got fucking psyoped completely into believing that it's gonna be a Guild Wars 3, like next month or something. And there are still people sometimes replying to threads, oh, yeah, I agree, this is bad, but maybe they'll fix it on Guild Wars 3, which is gonna come out soon. Like, I literally see this sometimes on Reddit, for example, much less often in the official forums. I think in the official forums nobody fucking says that, because everyone is like more informed there, and they're not complete cretins, whereas Reddit is Reddit as always, you know, Reddit's gonna be Reddit. So some people already like say things like, well, they'll get it next time with Guild Wars 3. They're like, I think I read one post in the official forums, actually one single person commenting to someone else, and I might be wrong, it might have been Reddit actually, and that person was saying something along the lines of, don't be surprised if next month they start trying. I think they said it for this video as well, because somebody was saying, for example, that boons are a complete failure, which I can talk about that a little bit, but you know. And then somebody else said, replied something along the lines of, oh, don't be surprised, I think they're testing systems for Guild Wars 3 in Guild Wars 2. And I'm like, oh my fucking god, you literal fucking doomsayer, you literal uninformed bastard. Like, just shut up, you know, just fucking shut up at this point. Nobody buys into your stupid opinion. Like, it's literal copium for stopping the game. Just fucking grow some balls and stop the game, because nobody's gonna judge you for that. Just stop playing. If you don't like it, stop playing. Stop making videos about it. Fucking stop playing. Play what makes you happy, dude. And then when Guild Wars makes you happy again, come back to it and it's gonna be alright. Nobody's gonna be angry at you. Just don't be a little bitch. It's simple. Like Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, I wanted to look at this. So, listen, Asmongold is. I'm not sure if I'm using I'm not using the sentence right, probably. But to me, Asmongold is such a potential lolcow. If by lolcow we mean somebody I can milk for laughs, in my own private stream circle, which is you guys and myself. To me, Asmongold has the potential to be an absolute lolcow. And I say that with like the kindest intentions. Deep down, okay, you know what? Deep down, I sympathize with Asmongold, and I think that, you know, it's fine. You know, he's fine. Whatever. Some of his opinions are fucking toxic as fuck over the years, and his lifestyle is in shambles. And he visually also always looks like as if he's in shambles. And in general, he's such a stereotype and such a caricature. You can't, like, it can't go wrong if there is like a Istola here, an American flag here, some plushies, and a fuck ton of random shit in the background, including a large whatever the fuck this is, a fridge. And then you see the guy himself, and he's like disheveled with a hoodie. And then the title is like, I've been living like an animal for 13 years, and here is why. It is at that point where I cannot anymore resist, and I've resisted. Believe me, I've resisted. But no more. I give in. I think this is the point where I give in. This is a week old, and it has 2 million views, and I can't resist it anymore. I think I'm gonna grab those titties and I'm gonna start milking right now. So I haven't watched anything about this. I don't know what this is about, but I'm so fucking ready. My body's ready. I'm so curious. I don't know what the person is gonna talk about. I'm open-minded, and I'm joyous about this, and I'm positive. And I hope it's nothing that, you know, it's nothing bad. Alright, because I don't wish anything bad to anyone when it comes to, like, you know, I mean, he says he's been living like an animal. I just, you know, I want him to be okay. You know, I want him to be okay. Of course, I might laugh at his misery or at his miserable state, but between you and I want him to be really okay. I don't know what the fuck is going on with this guy. I never really watched too closely, but like right now I'm gonna milk this. I'm gonna milk it. I'm gonna fucking milk it with my lips. It's not even gonna be my mouth. It is so ripe for the taking that I'm just gonna use my mouth. So I'm gonna mute myself, and I'm so curious how much milk I can make out of this. But I really hope that he's okay. I really fucking hope. I don't even know him, but I hope he's okay. But let's see.
Hey guys, it's me.
What is that mic quality, dude? It's worse than mine, and you have 2 million viewers. Oh, okay, good start. Let's go.
Hey guys, it's me. And today I want to answer a question that a lot of people have been asking me my whole life, and more importantly, they've been asking me a lot recently, especially online. And that question comes in many forms, but it all is distilled down to the same thing, which is, in one form or another, why are you like this? Whether it's the dead rat alarm clock, the
what? The what? The dead rat alarm clock. I'm missing so much context. I'm seriously hoping they're not being literal. I'm seriously hoping there is no dead rat that is attached to some contraption that combines its biological functions and its own mechanisms in some abomination. I'm worried. Is this person, is Asmongold preserving a dead rat that has been machined into being a clock? Is that real? Is that real? Is that what's happening? Is that real? Like, please say then so. Like, I imagine it's some kind of exaggerated joke. Like, he probably found a dead rat in his apartment, and it probably, I don't know, maybe it triggered the alarm clock somehow and then died. Like, because, like, what would you mean? Like, is this guy like some kind of necromancer or something from a fairy tale or a game? Like, what the fuck? What is a fucking dead rat alarm clock? What is that? How can you say there is not much context needed? It's like an alarm clock and a dead rat. What do these two have in common? I can't see links. You know what? You know what? You know what? I'm gonna Google it right now. Because if I'm milking this, I'm gonna milk it thoroughly. Dead rat, alarm clock, Asmongold. I pray to no god in particular, but I'm praying to all gods. Asmongold used a dead rat as an alarm clock. Huh? There is just no way. This is not real. This is not real. It is... It's real. Alright, wait a moment, wait a moment. I need state... No. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Okay. Yeah. Moving on.
Barbecue, puke shower curtain, dead animals in the house, or any other one of the stories that are just an indicator of me living like a complete fucking animal. People always wonder, why would a person live like this? Why would a person be like this? Why am...
No, you don't understand, Asmongold. You're not living like an animal. Animals are clean compared to what you're describing, Asmongold. You're living like an absolute fucking degenerate troglodyte. You're making so much money. Use them to improve your life. Please. Or give them to me at this point and I'll improve my life. Let me handle your money. I'll improve your life with your money. Just pay me like, I don't know, $100 a month. Like, I'll do it for you. This is like... Why?
Am I like this? And I think that honestly, you know, there's a lot of answers for this. I really don't want to make this like a super long video. So hopefully I can distill it down to some main points and not really go off on too many tangents, although I think that I probably will, because there's a lot of like history with it and everything like that. And so basically the first thing you need to know about me is that I actually, if you can believe this, I know this might sound shocking.
My price depends on the... My price depends on the task at hand. Telling someone over the internet, go buy toilet paper, go do this, have a bath today. Yeah, that wouldn't be too expensive, but it's not too involving, and I like organizing things. It's why I like It's why I like keeping pets, okay? I won't say much more about that.
shocking, is that I actually have not always been like this. This is a relatively new thing for me. And I think that it really kind of started a lot when I would say in high school, and then later on it kind of...
Like, okay, I'll talk about it. Fuck it. You know what? I'll talk about it. So, honestly, I'm poly, as I've mentioned quite a few times. So what that means is like I can fuck around, and usually when I fuck around, what happens is, and for a reason, I seem to attract almost mathematically people who are well, okay, so okay, there is no way around it. I seem to attract submissive little femboys. So yeah, whatever. Make whatever you want out of that, because yeah, it's always legal and always within moral standards, by the way. So don't even think about any funny business, okay? Because that's just your fucking dirty mind. But that's the people I seem to attract the most. And so, you know, whenever I am trying out a person as a partner, yeah, it's usually, aside from Neris, that is, it's usually a person who is, let's say, obedience inclined, which is not true with, which is not true in my relationship with Neris, necessarily. It's a different kind of thing. But I have a proclivity, and I like organizing, and I like ordering, and I like controlling in some contexts, and yeah, just you know, you're just Neris inclined, but you are a Neris though. How, like, what does that even mean in this context? Don't fuck with my brain. Not today, okay? Don't fuck with my brain. What are you trying to say? I'm just Neris? Okay, cool. Yeah, well, there is no just Neris. You're a fantastic person overall. You're a really fantastic person. So it's nothing just about you. You're not plain and simple. There's a lot about you. So don't worry about that. So yeah. And even recently when I acquired, I'm not gonna say that way, but right now, let's say I am involved with a certain person, beyond Neris, and they hit the spot. All right, she hits the spot when it comes to keeping a pet. And I absolutely love that, and I love that, like, Neris is very alright with that, and in fact, you know, scouting out the situation as well. And it's cooking to be like a really nice situation, but like this all is like not the point of this. The point of this is to say that, like, for telling somebody, like, at random intervals, like, take care of yourself, essentially, I would think $100 would be maybe even a lot. And I would say that, like, it would depend on the income of the person, because I do take that into account. Like, if somebody comes to me, let's assume I was doing it as a profession, right? Which I'm not. I'm doing it for myself. But if I was to do it as a profession, I would definitely take into account the situation of the person. But that may be because I'm also a little bit into findom. A little bit. And you can guess which side of it. But yeah, so yeah, 100 for telling Asmongold to live like a person sounds fair to me. Especially because, honestly, as a fellow gamer, I just think that he deserves better than having dead animals in his house. Like, that is miserable. That is like fucked up, my dude. Like, let me fix you. It's not even sexual. Just let me fix you. Okay? It's not even sexual. Like, it's just a shame. It feels like this person should be having a much better life, or I don't know. Like, it feels like, but who am I to say then again, right? Because maybe this person is just, I don't know. Look at him. Maybe he looks happy, the poor thing. You know, maybe he's like that's what he wants, like to be a champion of Nergal. And who am I to stand like in the way of that? Considering that I also want to be a champion of Slanesh, you know? But it's fine to me, I guess. He can be what he wants, and I don't know. But like at the same time, I can't help and feel a little bit of sympathy there. I'll be like, okay, like, why are you doing this? I don't understand. Which I don't have to understand, but like I would like to. Anyway, let's go on. I think I'm looking way too deep into that. Like, this is just a World of Warcraft degen, so I don't know why I'm bothering, but like, let's see.
Entered phase 2, and that was probably somewhere around 21 or 23, somewhere around there in those age groups. And that's whenever, you know, the degeneracy really kind of went, you know, it ratcheted up to the next level.
I like being right. You know, if there is one thing, it's like I love being right. So when he said just now, yeah, that's when I became a degenerate. Just after I said he just a World of Warcraft, oh my god, a World of Warcraft degenerate. Okay, I love being right in some situations. This is so easy to read. Oh my god. Okay, let's like okay. Also, Nerish, whenever you want to play like Baldur's Gate, I would much rather play Baldur's Gate than like watch Asmongold explain all this shit, because honestly it's starting to feel like it's unexplainable anyway. And I don't know, but I feel like I'm gonna milk this video. Even if we go for Baldur's Gate, I might milk it like tomorrow or something. I'm not letting this go. It might be my Saturday material, but I don't think I can let this go. This is way too good. This is prime. This is premium like material right here. It's premium.
I leveled up, new expansion release, DLC, etc., right? And so this happened then because as a kid, I was actually very much like a very conscientious kid in the way that I basically didn't really want to be perceived in a negative way. I wanted to be seen as a good person.
Yeah, that first part, that sailed, baby. That ship sailed, baby. It's gone forever.
Etc. And I've always had a big problem with being able to like relate.
I don't agree with the woke conspiracy stuff. Well, you know what? We're deep diving Asmongold apparently right now, so we're deep diving Asmongold, deep diving himself. Since we're doing that, you know, write to me about this woke conspiracy stuff, because I'm not aware of it. Like, honestly, I don't know anything about Asmongold, other than often I disagree with his views, and he seems to be a bit conservative or bigoted or something, I don't know, and he's also disgusting. So, you know, with some shit that he's done. Then again, I've also done some shit that is disgusting. Like, for example, when I was very young, I shot myself laughing outside of like our bungalow, you know, with my cousin. And we were both shitting ourselves laughing, and then my uncle was like chasing us down with a frying pan. But I was very young, and yeah, but this guy is not young, so I'm not quite sure what's going on. So yeah, whatever. Anyway, you can write to me. What is this conspiracy stuff, and I'll read it once I'm back. Okay, I'll be right back. And back. It's just more of a Gamergate version 2 take on things, and intentionally trying not to follow any of them. Okay. Yeah, I have no idea what Gamergate 2 is. I don't even know what Gamergate 1 is. I just missed all of that and I'm happy about it. Anyway, so you would have to be explaining for an hour for me to understand. So I have no idea what the woke conspiracy is. I do know that Asmongold can have some bigoted takes. That's all. All right, let's let the person talk more, because the more that he talks, the more I'm amused, and that's pretty interesting.
To other people, because I think that I'm just a little bit off, right? I wouldn't say that I don't have a moral compass, but I would say that my moral compass doesn't point north. And this has been a problem in a lot of cases in my life, whether it's with relationships or friendships or anything in between. I've had a lot of problems because of that. And in the process of this, I've learned a lot of things about myself. And the main thing is that my take and my view on moral issues is not really what I would say a normal person thinks. And this has caused me a lot of problems, and especially like as a young kid, you know, being able to like interact and fit in with people, it's a weird dichotomy, because the truth is I actually always did have a lot of friends, and I never had problems making friends, but at the same time I always felt like I was very different from a lot of other people because of the way that I felt.
That's because you were never really making friends, you were just fitting in. Because if your moral compass is flexible, if your morality is flexible, a lot of people are going to attach themselves to you more easily. Because they feel, maybe sometimes wrongly or sometimes correctly, that because of your flexibility, you're going to be a much more ideal, I don't know, whatever, partner, friend, fuck buddy, fun person to hang out with, a curiosity, amusing, a distraction. I know this because my moral compass is also quite weird. I'm not sure what Asmongold means when he says that. I'm not. He would have to give an example. But my own moral compass allows me. It's a bit weird because it will allow me to do certain things that some people may find repulsive, maybe, or unattractive, as you know, as choices. But for example, at the same time, it just doesn't allow me to ever lie. I can't lie. I would rather fucking. I would rather. I don't know. I would rather take pain than lying. I would rather. If the choice was hurting me or like lying, I would pick hurting me. I'm not gonna lie ever. Or for example, I can be very compassionate, but like that is irrelevant from a moral compass, which can mean that sometimes these two characteristics can clash. It's weird. So if he is talking about the same thing, I will tell you that my experience with having a flexible morality system is that you will attract people that, even though, you know, you might think that they're chill, in reality they're there because of their need to be accepted, stuff like that. It's not always, you know, cool people who are just misunderstood, and just because you are a bit edgy, they kind of attach themselves to you. That's not the case. The case is much darker in reality. Anything else is copium, basically. But yeah, I've made my choice in terms of morality. I've made my choices. I know how I am as a person, and so I don't have issue with that. Some people do have issue with that. I'm no longer talking with these people. Simple as that. Because that is also part of my moral flexibility. I can be like, hey, you don't like me? Okay. But we've been great friends for 3 years, but you don't like me? Tough. You're out. Like, I can do that. You know, even though it hurts, I can do it. It's also why I was talking about it. Like last time I was saying, I don't enjoy kicking people out of my guild, but I have a goal and I want to achieve it, and people who are just not fitting in are just gonna get booted, you know? And simple as that, and it's not personal. So that's what I mean with moral flexibility, which can also become something in real life, you know? It doesn't stop in gaming. It's like that's my morality in general. And it is reflected in how I am as a group organizer in a game, for example. It's not the other way around. It's not I'm in the game like that, but in real life I wouldn't do that. I would. If I was running a business, I would run it, you know, clockwork. The way I want it, and people would pay if they didn't fit in. they would pay by getting literally airlocked out into Saturn. So yeah, and I don't mind that. And I myself have been treated that way by people who claim to have some more absolute morality that points north, to use Asmongold's words. So I know for a fact it's dog shit. And I also know for a fact and hold the belief that you will never get rewarded for only doing good deeds. You will never get punished for doing bad deeds. You will never... there is no absolute. It's like... And there is no judging force out there that tallies your good deeds and your bad deeds. And there's nothing out there. There's nothing at all. There may be gods, there may be demons, there may be aliens, there may be anything you want, but I don't think any of them hold any special power over, you know, how one deed of yours is going to be rewarded. Yes, sure, you might do something that offends, assuming there is a God that exists, and assuming that this being can punish you, the fact that they'll punish you is something that they choose to do. It is not a result of you making a choice, it's the result of that choice not pleasing something that views you as insignificant. It has nothing to do with morality. It's choices, and choices going against other people's choices and will. So at that point it's just bullying, literally cosmic bullying. So I honestly don't believe there is like an almighty cosmic bully out there that literally pays attention to like 50 fucking trillion people on a globe in space and measures who's gonna be wrong and right. Like there's no such thing. You can literally, I'll tell you this risking a lot, okay? But I'm gonna tell you this as an example that is completely hypothetical, which I don't condone, and all of that shit. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm not supporting it. I'm not like, it's not my choice. You get it, okay? It's just a theoretical, philosophical example, okay? It's an exercise in thought. You could go out there right now and kill someone, kill them, remove them permanently from this reality. And depending on the circumstances, which are pretty human circumstances, meaning are you gonna get caught or not, nothing might happen. Nothing. That act will not affect you in the slightest. You don't know the person. The removal from reality is never gonna affect you. Only emotionally, because you do have emotions, right? But for example, assume that you didn't, right? And I like this as a philosophical exercise. It's also what the book American Psycho at one point goes into, where, you know, Bateman is like, I feel there's nothing there. I feel nothing. There's nothing there, and what I'm doing has like zero fucking repercussions. And at one point he imagines that there might be repercussions because he needs it. He needs it. But there is none. Life continues. So this is why I think there is nothing out there that stops you from being immoral or evil. Because what are those things anyway? That's it. That's what I think. That's my moral flexibility. So whether or not I'm going to do bad by someone or good by someone wholly depends on my relationship to that someone and how you know, what understanding we have between us, how they treat me, how I treat them, what like transactions we have between us, what I know about them, what I like about them, what I don't like about them. It's all personal. Even without emotions, I feel it would change how you behave. No, it wouldn't. Not in this example. Because all you're doing is like, I'm not gonna make a habit out of it. I'm just gonna go out there, kill someone and see what changes. Nothing will change. Nothing will change. Nothing at all. The only thing that will change is your feelings, because you might feel something. But if we assume that we're not talking about feelings, because this exercise is not about how you're gonna feel, but rather whether or not there is like an overlord that will judge you, there isn't. Nothing will change. Nobody's going to know. If it's the perfect crime, nobody's gonna know, and nobody's gonna nothing is gonna affect you, nothing is gonna change. That's what I'm saying. There is nothing there that forces you to be good or to be evil or to be morally or immoral. Nothing. Nothing at all. It's just you and your conscience. Can you live with it? Can you fucking live with it? Because if you can't live with it, then you should get that looked into, you know. You should go see a therapist or something. But if you but other than that, there's nothing that's gonna happen to you. At worst, you're gonna, people were gonna find out, and then you're gonna get in jail or in trouble, and then you're gonna, I don't know, depending where you live, you might also have a death penalty or whatever, and that's it though. But for you, as in your life, it's not like some strange spirit will appear and say, you have been immoral, so therefore your luck will now change and you will not have any more money and you will be punished thus and thus. Like, that's not gonna happen ever. No force will punish you. Nobody will. There's nothing there. And again, even if there are gods out there and aliens and demons and monsters, even if that's true and there are parallel realities and that's where, if this is simulation and we're being judged, it's not life itself. It's like somebody, another being, essentially bullying you into submission because they have power over you. It's not like otherwise something, in a complete vacuum, if you perform a bad deed, you're going to be punished. There's nothing like that. I'm trying to give you what my view on morality, right? Which doesn't mean that I'm immoral, by the way. I can believe all that and still choose to try and be morally, what's the word? To have moral integrity, to be a person of integrity and character. But I can still believe that the only reason I'm doing this is because I choose so. And that reason is also flexible, because somebody may wrong me in such a way that I feel deserves me treating them in an immoral way, or make some immoral choices regarding them to achieve what I want. Not because I want to hurt them or that, but it's just like my own system just demands it at that point. My own moral compass demands it, or I will feel like it will nag at me, it will eat away at me, Like, if I can, I won't obsess over it, but if I can do something about it, I will. But I won't obsess over it, and also, it's also about believing in fairness as well. Like, because if you're unfair, you might return what was done to you like 100-fold, right? Which, yeah, I'm a person who leans towards lessening that effect, like not increasing it. Like, if somebody wrongs me, for example, and I feel I feel I should wrong them too, I will make sure that it is like I have certain rules, that it won't be permanent, that it won't be deeply damaging, that it will be mirroring what was done to me in such a way that will show them that what they did was bad, to put it that way. Because in reality, I don't want to, I'm not a bad person. I don't want to hurt people or, permanently hurt them or anything. I don't want that. Anyway, I think I went far too deep into that when it's unnecessary in reality. But like, I just wanted to discuss the whole moral compass because it's interesting to hear Asmongold, of all people, just mention something that, like, you know, has been in my mind for a very long time, and it's like, you know, this whole, like, why am I like this? Why can I find it okay to do or to consider certain things that other people are telling me are repulsive, or form ideas and thoughts to solve a problem that other people find repulsive? You know, and I've often thought about it, you know. By the way, I'm not a psycho. Just clearing that up. I've not been diagnosed with anything weird like that, okay? So don't worry about it. These are just genuinely healthy thoughts to have, in case you're concerned.
I used to have, for a comparison, just a point of reference, I guess you could say, I used to have my mom read me all of the different, like, sins in the Bible and everything, because I understood, even as a little kid, I'm like, there's something wrong with you. You know, like, you better learn this so that way there aren't any problems in the future. And so I would have her read all of these to me. That way I would understand how to behave, right? Because it just never came naturally to me. Things that come naturally to other people were not natural. And
okay, that treatment of his mother, like his mother's treatment towards him is disgusting. It is at the same time a complete resignation from any attempt of parenting, and a complete bullying of a person by forcing them or coercing them to submit to an imaginary force that they may not even believe exists. So this is brutal. This is legitimately brutal. His mother forcing him to read the Bible or whatever the fuck to learn how to behave is wrong on so many levels, from the practical to the theoretical to the philosophical, that I feel genuinely sorry for that, because those experiences will shape you as you grow up. And so I genuinely feel sorry. The only similar experience I can have with this is a rather funny incident, which his incident doesn't seem to be funny. Mine was. I was very young, and then I wanted to skip school. I wanted to skip class, you know. I wanted to be a bad guy because I was edgy as fuck. What the fuck do you want? And when I say guy, I mean it's because back then I wasn't on HRT. I wasn't honest to myself about how I feel and how I identify. So I'll just say bad guy, right? And so I wanted to skip class, and I did. And I got caught. And I got caught in a way where, in the sense that, like, the principal called my grandfather, who then proceeded to visit me at my home. I was there, pretending to be sick, pretending to having been sent home sick. And I wasn't even playing video games or anything like that. I was just sitting in my bed and trying to catch some sleep. And I see my grandfather wearing this large trench coat and a scarf and a hat, a fedora. I'm not even joking. And his leather gloves. And generally, he was looking pretty armored. He was looking tough. So he also had a Bible with him, a good one, an ornate one. And he tells me to basically sit at my desk, which I do. To which he slams the Bible on the table with conviction, looking at me like some kind of terrible priest of yore about to condemn a witch. And he's solemn and he's silent, and he's like, swear to me. Like, literally, it sounds like a story, but this is how it was. And his voice was booming whenever he wanted, so his voice was booming. It was like, swear to me that you will not lie. Swear it on God's name. And I was like, okay. And he was like, put your hand on the holy book and swear it. And I was like, yes, I swear. And inside of me, I was like, I lie. And what he wanted me to swear was like that I will never do it again. And that's my experience as far as like Bible thumping goes. A literal Bible thump. Which I cancelled out with the energies of chaos because I didn't give a fuck. Because even by that age, I had decided that if somebody believes in something, but I don't believe in it, well then, you know, it has less power over me, so I don't give a fuck. So if somebody wants me to swear on their God, that's their fucking problem for believing me. I don't abide to that God's rules. I don't give a shit. I'll do whatever the fuck I want. And I did. And that's the story. And I found it pretty funny. And that's my experience with Bible thumping. But my grandfather, and if I said father, by the way, dyslexia, sorry, but my grandfather wasn't that religious, okay? Per se, he was, I'd say he was like, to be honest with you, thinking back at it, that move surprised me because he was always very reserved about any potential religious beliefs. I don't particularly remember him being religious. I remember my grandmother, who was not religious. She was very, very liberal with her beliefs, let's say. She was for a lady of her age, she was open-minded and accepting, and she really didn't like religion. So if my grandfather was religious, I'm starting to think that maybe he was hiding it because he was so in love with her. To the end of her days, and to the end of his days. He was always in absolute love with her. And she was too. But she was she was very tsundere. My grandmother was very tsundere, trust me. She really was. So the poor grandfather, I guess. So I think that he was hiding it because, not hiding it, but like keeping it down. Okay, let's say keeping it down. Because he wouldn't want to displease her, obviously. Especially around me. My grandmother was adamant that I should not be affected by religious teachings growing up. Unfortunately, Greek education made that impossible. Because for many reasons, religion and religious teachings are very much ingrained with education in Greece, or were, up to 10 years ago. Maybe 15. I remember being careful around religious stuff because I thought my mom was religiously inclined, but in reality they played it up so I could get into the good religious schools. Oh my god. That is dumb. I'm sorry. That is kind of dumb. But oh, at least it's innocent, right? It's clumsy, not dumb. Let's say it's clumsy. As parenting goes. And a clear miscommunication, I think. But okay, but yeah, I wonder. Let's go on before Neris sacks me into Baldur's Gate.
Are not natural. It's not like things have changed. If anything, they've probably gotten worse as I've gotten older. And so I've always had a big problem being able to like understand like where how you should act, how you should treat people, what you should do, how you should say things, etc. So almost everything that I do is a learned performance rather than an innate social instinct, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and wait until you're done with food for sure. What Asmongold is saying here all that he's learned is a performance. All his personality is a performance. So this is in part masking and in part healthy. Masking can be healthy, by the way. Masking is something that I do as well, quite a lot. I also have my own mask, which I've been crafting ever since I was a child. It's an amalgamation of behaviors that you either like to the point of compromise, so you're going to keep them and adopt them and also adapt them. Behaviors that you think people that you value will value, as long as you don't have to compromise too much to keep them. And other such things, and you slowly create a mask until that mask is in and on itself a face, because you've created something unique and that is your face. When you need it, that face is there. And it's adaptable and it's customizable and it's easy to organize and easy to wear. And at some point you just either, stay like that, or you shatter that, or you permanently wear it. And in my case, it's more towards the shattering part, because as I've grown, I have decided that people should learn to accept me as I am, with all my problems and deficiencies and whatnot. And I just can't bother anymore pleasing people, in that regard at least. And so it is what it is. And I'm slowly peeling away that mask, and I'm slowly peeling away behaviors that I no longer want. And eventually I'll reach a stage where it's just me, but possibly a better me, through having worn that mask and used it and learned about what makes it tick, and therefore what makes other people tick, and therefore what I want to be, And I'm in the process of that, and let me tell you that some layers are pretty damn difficult to get rid of, and they can hurt you, even realizing that this has been stuck on your mask for so long that it might as well be your skin, and realizing that it's bad, actually, according to the most recent version of yourself, is tough. It's tough and rough, and yeah. But I understand what Asmongold says, and yeah, I feel sorry for that in a good way. I can absolutely sympathize. And I'm not a specialist, but I think that this kind of thing, it can be like a sign of maybe a little bit, autism or something like that, a little bit, or some other thing. Some or other thing, I don't fucking know. I've never checked to see if I'm autistic or something. I never cared, honestly. Yeah, I don't know, maybe I am, and maybe also Asmongold is. I don't know. And that's okay, whatever. You can't really, in my opinion, in my head, there are some things that you may be, which, knowing or not knowing, is never gonna help you or anyone else in any situation ever. It's just not gonna help. It's just pointless to know, because it's permanent, it's there, and putting a name on it is not gonna help anyone. You might as well, when when you're trying to explain to someone that, hey, I reacted that way because I'm autistic, you might as well just tell them, I reacted that way because I think that what you said is hurtful. And then the person will know, and that should be enough for them. Why would you need them to know that you're autistic? Why would you need to know you're autistic? For real. Like you are in a certain way, right? You exist, you feel a certain way. That's what matters. It doesn't matter what you are. You feel a certain way. If that certain way is not good for you, you should strive to change it. What good is it gonna be? Like what? They're gonna, like, that person that you told this thing to, whom you told this thing to, what, are they gonna change the behavior just because you said the magic word autistic? Then it's fake. It's not real effort. It's just done because the other person was coerced by you, claiming, you know, some kind of what can be considered by some disability, to the degree where they would adjust their behavior just to not be rude to autistic people, for example. Like this whole system is flawed. I'm not against diagnosis, right? I'm not against, oh, do I have OCD? You know, I should take it. Do I have like depression? Of course you should take it. But like some things you just will never change. You're born that way, and they don't affect you in any other way other than feeling certain things by certain people. Like, it's kind of, you get what I'm saying? Just discuss it with those people, and that's it. You don't really need, in those cases, which are like very few, you don't really need science. You just need compassion. You just need humanity. You don't really need to like warn people that you're autistic. And it's the same as well with like being a trans person. You don't need to warn anyone that you're trans. I used to do it a lot, but it's unnecessary. Just expect or demand to be treated as a person if you're not being treated as a person. And if something annoys you, you don't have to say it annoys me because trans. It annoys you because you. And that's your right. That's your prerogative. You can be annoyed, okay? You're allowed. You're allowed to have feelings. And you should allow other people the chance to correct them. And you should not believe that they want to harm you all the time. You can just talk about it. Yeah, exactly. What Neri said, which is a lot of time people tend to lean on labels to know how to act instead of like, yeah, it's like instructions for inhuman idiots. It's like instructions for people who are inhuman. Like they literally can't fucking human. So they need to be told, if the other person tells you that they're X or Y, remember to be nice to the autistic person. Fuck you. Fuck all of that system. It's fucking bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. And I might not even be autistic, by the way, but that doesn't matter. Maybe Asmongold isn't as well, you know, either, I mean. But maybe he has, you know, he's got feelings, right? He's gonna get hurt. So if, you know, you get it, you get what I'm saying. Let's go on.
And hopefully the performance is good. I consider myself kind of a good actor, at least, right? But of course there are going to be cracks and outtakes as well. And so those are usually in the form of the Twitter clips with 100,000 likes. And so anyway, as a kid, I was always treated this way, and you know, people thought that I was a little bit off, a little bit weird. Like one time, like for example, there was a kid that I was like playing with baseball with him, and he was annoying me, making me mad. And so I hit the ball, and I hit it with the explicit intention of hitting him in the face with the ball, and I did. And so I remember there's blood all over the kid's face. He like broke his tooth and everything, and everybody was standing around like what the fuck, like what? This is like terrible. And I remember walking up. This was like the best day of my fucking life. This happened, and I was so happy. And I could see that other people were made very uncomfortable around this, and that's whenever I started.
Yeah, this is something that I've experienced. This happiness, this accomplishment and fulfillment of finally smashing that fucking, how can I say it? This wall of fear and doubt that stops you from reacting, which is literally blood in the water for bullies. But when you smash that and you go like, hey, now I'm gonna fuck you up because, you know, according to my moral system, you're now fucked, kid. And you fuck them up. And that feels like, my god, you're Batman. You're in your head, you're fucking Batman. You're fucking, you're vengeance, literally. That's how good it feels. When they have it coming and you finally overcome your fear and you know, face off against your bully or a fear of yours and you conquer it. That is liberation. That is what you live for in your head. You're literally an edgelord at that point. But damn, it feels fucking good, dude. And I've been there. I know what he's saying. I know what he's saying. The best day of your life. The first time it happens, the second time, the third time it happens. The best fucking day of your life. The best day of your life. No, it doesn't matter if it's moral or not. Like, you don't fucking give a shit. Because you've endured, like, months and months of abuse. And so when you do it, in your head, you know without a doubt that even though you may have been brutal, that day, motherfucker, you deliver justice to that fucking idiot. And of course people are gonna be afraid of that, because up until that point, you haven't reacted. And they don't consider it a possibility. Which is also why you're a perfect bully target. And it's also why I've chosen, which brings us back to that morality thingy, I've chosen to be confrontational in the end. I chose that. I was like, yeah, I will be that pissed off person that people sometimes hate to deal with because they whine too much and they complain and they call out other people and they're mean. I will be that because I don't want to go through a whole month of bullshit and soaking and tanking bullshit just to make sure the other person doesn't fucking hate my guts. I'm not gonna do that. It's so tiring. It exhausts me so much. I'd rather confront. But back in the day, I was like what Asmongold says, I would keep it in, and one day I would do something horrible to that person, and then everyone would be like, oh my god, I didn't think you were capable of that. No, I'm capable of worse, I'm just holding back. Because, like, I'm afraid. Okay, so don't fucking fuck with me. It's simple as that. It's like, you know, I'm not saying that you literally are Batman, but like, you know, that was just how you feel. But I'm saying, like, you might even fail in reacting. You might try to react and you might get your ass kicked. You know, I'm not having any delusions about that. But when it comes to your feeling in that moment, I'm just able to relate to what Asmongold says because I've experienced this. That's what I'm saying. Which isn't to say that this is like an ideal way to react, but it is to say that I understand what he's saying. And that then everyone is just so surprised that you were capable of, you know, not of kicking someone's ass, not that you had in you Goku's strength, not that you were righteous, but that you have this capacity of reaction. It's different. Because, you know, if you're a Reddit edgelord or a Discord mod, you're gonna be like, let me unleash, like, you won't like me when I unleash my power. It's not like that. I'm not saying it like that. In case it sounds like I'm saying it like that, let me fucking ground you. Back to reality, you know, snap back, Eminem. It's not that. It's like your capacity to react, which you didn't even know is there. It makes you yourself's own hero for a bit, you know? But unfortunately, in the eyes of others, all they see is like somebody angry without a reason. Somebody cringy without a reason, and angry, and like, oh my god, that person, I never thought that. Yeah, you don't know what's going in the head of that person. That person can be hurt, you know, and at one point they might react. Like, how is that strange? I don't understand why that is strange. But apparently it is. I've experienced that. Apparently it is. And you feel like you can't find... If you feel like you can't find fairness, you know? And I think that also plays a huge role, because you're expecting... You've been told... You've been brought up and you've been told bad people get punished, and you've been told be patient, and you've been told don't be, you know, don't do immoral things like hitting someone. And then it doesn't work because you do all that, and yet, again, because there is no moral system in real life, or some punishment or anything, aside the law, which is human and flawed and also limited, There's nothing there that will ensure that if you play nice, everyone else is eventually gonna get their comeuppance. They're not. They're gonna bully you to the end of eternity. And if you think that these people are, you know, people who put you in those situations, if you think that they are salvageable, they are, except only by external forces. So somebody waking them up somehow, like talking them into it, or something, or appealing to their emotions over time and like working through it, you know. But when it comes to like changing, they're not gonna go on their own. They're just gonna keep bullying you because it's more fun and easier, and you fucking suck, you're a wimp. And you're such a good victim. I mean, it's a huge thing, you know, it's like bullying. It's not a simple... Bullying is a word. The whole act, the whole system behind it, like the natural economy and functions behind it are so fucking complex, you have no idea. Because even what I'm describing is like just not really a lot about it. But yeah, I hope I didn't sound cringe when I said, yeah, at that point you feel like Batman. I'm just trying to convey to you how liberating it is, even if you fail, even if eventually you actually get bit because you're a wimp anyways. In that moment, it feels liberating that like nobody else stood up for you, but you fucking did. You actually finally did, you know? And that is liberating, and I can understand that. And I can also understand Asmongold's frustration with others, where you think, like in your mind, you just literally innovated, you literally worked on it and surpassed a big problem, a big emotional wall. But everyone around you is like, oh my god, you're now dangerous. Not because you have the power of 20 Gokus, but because you have the capacity to randomly, according to them of course, to randomly just lash out at someone because they don't have the context. Because they don't know what's going on in your head. Nor do you owe them to explain to them why you did what you did. I mean, it should be obvious. Normally, if people have eyes, they can see who's being bullied. But you know what happens usually? They ignore it, because it's easier to ignore it, because not ignoring it will eventually lead to you acting, because you know you're not an asshole. So the moment you acknowledge it, it will eat you until you actually help the person who's being bullied. And you don't want that. That's too much trouble. That's way too much trouble. Just look the other way. Am I right? Anyway, sorry, it stirred some memories. But whatever, let's just go on.
Trying to like really kind of mask my emotions and how I felt about things, because it was very evident to me that I was not really normal. And this has been, again, a huge problem my whole life, but that was pretty much the first, at least the time that I can remember in my mind, the first time that I can remember that and see that, wow, this didn't go over the way that I thought it would go over, because I was so happy and nobody else is happy and they think I'm like a bad person. But it's like, you know, from my perspective, that's not how I saw it. And, you know, from my perspective, rip bozo. So this is a big problem. And this happens in middle school as well. I cared a lot about like how I looked, how I dressed, etc. in middle school. I mean, really, who doesn't? And, you know, I really tried to you know, like take myself seriously, and, you know, I tried to have a good impression, etc., do the right things, say the right things, wear the right things, be the right kind of person. And going into high school, I kind of got, there's a weird thing where like I ended up going to like one high school that I didn't want to go to, and then I ended up going to another high school after that, after I told my parents that if they didn't change me over, I would kill myself and fail every single class. Which, to be halfway, I was halfway followed through with that, because my first semester in that high school, I had a GPA of a 0.08. It was actually impressive. It was hard to do. I had to go out of my way for this. And so then I ended up getting transferred over, and I went to the school where my friends were. And I think that...
So, yeah, so about killing himself. Yeah, it's something that you... Once you start realizing... This is important. And I hope, you know... I'm betting on all of you not taking it the wrong way. But, like... It has crossed my mind too back in the day. back like when I was young, because of those feelings of I'm doing everything I can to fit in and I can't. So probably this reality is just not ever gonna have space for me. I'm always going to be persecuted and feel bad and pushed and bullied and rejected and be an outcast, and I don't want that because it hurts. And back then you can't really form the exact thoughts that I'm voicing now, but you feel it more than you can describe it. I can describe it now because I can put it into words and I'm far removed from that situation and feeling. But yeah, there came that night where feeling all this, and intently, because I'm a person who is very emotionally inclined and very susceptible to emotions that you know I give gravity to. Others can't affect me, but I can give gravity to things that can then affect me. But anyway, I just very calmly, and you know, you might want to mute me right now, but you know, I very calmly took a sharp, you know, thing, I'll say. I'll try to be as gentle as I can with the wording. I positioned it against a surface and I started leaning into it. And it just, in that instance, and this is not a joke, but in that instance, I just for a moment thought, what if everyone else is literally an idiot? What if I am actually normal? What then? What if I'm normal and this is just not the right way? What if I just try, at least to see if I'm normal, at least to see if I'm correct, you know? And this is something that my parents don't know, which is amazing because now you know, because I'll tell you, but my parents don't know, and it concerns them. Because my next immediate thought was, in fact, you know what? I'm not the one who should be removed. And so I took that sharp object, and I thought, what if others need to be removed for it to be okay? And considering how my parents were, and in many ways still are, well, my childish thoughts were like, maybe they need to be removed, right? And I went into the room, and I was there with that sharp object in my hand, and I was like, this is easy. I can do this right now. And then I thought, I love them, regardless of how they are. And then I didn't do it. And then I never, you know, had these thoughts again. Either or of those thoughts. But for that one night, which I will forever remember, I came close to two things that would have absolutely changed everything about my whole life. Everything. One is obvious and the other less obvious. I'm really happy I didn't do either. Even though my parents are complete assholes, and even though I am morally flexible, as I've said, this is something I wouldn't do. And I never needed a boogeyman or an external force to stop me. It was my choice. And I think that was the right choice, and on both accounts. And I also think that, like, removing someone from life is always the least effective, least practical, and least everything way of solving a problem. That is what I think. And what I always thought ever since that day. Even though in moments of rage I've wanted to kill someone, I've hated people to the point of wanting to kill them, I would most definitely always stop at the point where I feel satisfied morally. Like if someone, for example, let's take for example the guys, right, who scammed me for 50k euro way back when with the club, right? I knew who they were. I knew what they did. Justice, the law would not do anything. It was such a situation where they were safe, and I hated them. I wanted to kill them. I felt that what they've done, literally deleting my future and my dream, I felt so wronged. But the reality of the matter is, assuming they were going to be punished, and I was going to be somehow reimbursed for all this, I wouldn't, after that, want, still feel the same, hate them and want to kill them. I would be like, okay, well, that worked out, which goes to show that really just any form of death is just not really necessary, except for one thing. And on that, I'm sorry, but I'll be adamant. The R word and anything of that kind, and I'm not even gonna go into PDF files, those things, you can't really wash it out. That cannot be reformed. That cannot be reimbursed. If it happens to you, which I hope never, so I'll use myself as an example. If it ever happened to me, I would genuinely feel that the only way that I'm going to feel ever whole again, complete again, and not absolutely destroyed would be if the person who did that to me died. That is the only way that I know in my soul that crime of that level would ever be resolved from me. That's how I feel about it. I never want to have that happen, obviously, but I feel that thing is an exception to me. I think somebody who does that, I don't know, they're taking something away from the person they do it to that can never be repaid with anything but their own life. Because it's something you cannot take back. You can't take it back. You can't take it back. It's always going to be there. You can never take it back. And so my weird logic and my weird moral compass says that, well, the only solution is if that person never existed, because if they never existed, then that deed is like as if it never happened. Therefore, removing that person from this plane of existence is, in that one instance, probably the only solution. If the person who was attacked feels the same way, but if I was attacked, I would 100% feel that way. That I would not settle for less. I couldn't. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that I want them in the same reality as me. Because that is my way of removing what happened. And that is the only thing that I feel I will never go back. If it ever happens to me, I will never go back, emotions-wise and like existentially, unless that thing was as close to never have happened as possible. And the closest you can get is removing the person who did it. That's the closest you can get. So that's what I would go for. So yeah, but that is That and the other thing that I said, which I won't repeat. Yeah. Those are my exceptions. Anything else, I guess, depending on the context, is up for debate. Because even during war, there can be heinous crimes, right? And of course, they should never happen. But we're talking about a massive scale where applying individual values is going to be extremely, insanely difficult. At which point we dehumanize because of the scale, and then we're thinking about it from a different perspective, because all this is like from the perspective of like you're trying to live your life and what can happen to you during that. Like that's really it. And I'm aware that like during war, of course, the scale is large, but the individual people experience it as individual people. You know, if they get affected, they don't suddenly turn into a hive mind, and you know. So there is a lot to be said about all that. Like, what were the circumstances? What were the orders given, orders taken? Why would you follow it? Like, it's so much more complicated. It is so much more complicated that at that point you're like, you would have to go case by case for every single one person involved, from like the top of the chain of command all the way down to people who just served coffee at the barracks. Like, it would be insane to go through all that. So what I'm saying is mostly applicable like to a small scale, I would say. Simply because, not because of double standards, but simply because it would be monumental as an undertaking to, like, if you feel wronged by a war, because maybe war affected you and destroyed your life, which is very often the case, regardless of sides. At that point, I cannot even fathom what would make it right to you, you know. But I have to assume and hope that it's similar to my case, where, yeah, maybe I hated the other side, maybe I wanted them dead, but in reality I would settle for reparations and, you know, seizing, obviously, as a stopping, and I think it would become more complicated if due to these actions I lost someone. I think then it would be more complicated, because murder, and that's why I'm saying it should never be the solution, with very few, like, if only one or two exceptions, as I said. Murder should not be ever a thing, because as you can see, it complicates things so much, because you can say, okay, that person killed someone during war of your family, let's say. Now you demand their death. Where does that stop? Where does that stop? And why was that person forced to pull the trigger? Why could they not injure the other person? Why could they not incapacitate the other person? Why not something else? Why did it have to be death? Because the moment it becomes death, then the other side is also going to demand death. And you know what? I also understand it, but like, where does it stop? Because now you kill the other person. I mean, I guess it stops at the point, or in theory, philosophically, it stops at that point. Like, exactly there it stops. Like, who killed this guy? You. All right, you die as well, because you killed that guy, because you're an asshole for killing that guy, because it cannot ever be taken back. So you're gonna join him now, and it stops there. Ideally, right? But then that person was following orders. That person may have been lied to, which makes it different than, let's say, the R word. Because nobody's lying to you. It's something you decided and you fucking snapped and went for it. Because you're a fucking monster. Nobody told you to do it. You weren't confused about it. You just did it. Because you're a monster. So it's different. And that's why, even though it might appear I have double standards, I don't. It's that war, the circumstances of a war are insanely more complicated than like small scale. And that's why it might appear like I have double standards, but I don't in reality. It's just that it's very complicated, and it would also hinge on the understanding from both sides of why it happened. Whatever happened, you know what the reason was for whatever happened to happen. It would require, like, let's say, copious amounts of kindness of heart and forgiveness, which is very important. Like, both are very important. But it would have to be mutual, because otherwise you're just an idiot who's getting played. That's my opinion on all this shit. And this is a little bit deeper than I would like to go. But you know, I guess I don't mind spilling my guts when it comes to these things. I don't think it's morally like incorrect to do so on stream. Nor do I think it's immoral to have these to have these positions or feel that way, you know.
Like the high school that I had originally gone to was a much more superficial, much more like, you know, like a higher class high school, because my dad wanted me to go there because, you know, like he wanted me to go to school to get an education. Imagine that. I wanted to go to school to hang out with my friends, so there was a bit of a disconnect there. And so I go over to the other school and I realized that I need to stop caring about what people think about me, because I saw the people that were in that other school and I realized that's not the kind of person that I wanted to be, because they were the more extreme version of the person that I was trying to be. And at that point, I realized that I didn't really want to be like other people, and I had to develop, I guess, my own identity. And this was at, like, I would say 14 or 15. And that happened, and that continued all the way through high school. And, you know, I was always like, you know, I never really had a girlfriend, right, in high school or anything like that. Maybe, you know, I talked to a girl, but not really, okay? And so I was never really treated very well by, you know, a lot of girls or anything like that. And big surprise, imagine that. And so anyway, this happened.
I really just want to hug him because I have been through that, and he's talking about it with a smile, but he's not smiling inside. Even if he's okay with it now, he's not smiling inside. I know that smile. I know that shit. I've been there. Yeah, it's just very lonely. That's what I'll tell you. It's very lonely. But afterwards, you know, if you develop into a nice guy, I guess, or a nice girl or whatever, you kind of look back at it and you're like, I went through it and it's kind of funny that I did. Because if you don't see the funny part, and then that's the smiling part that you see, if you don't see the funny part in those things and those days, and like, if you don't see them as like funny stories to share, they're going to ruin you. They're going to fucking plunder your asshole every single day of your life. You're gonna be their bitch. You're gonna be the bitch of those memories. Trust me. So, you know, Asmongold is not bitch made, so he deals with it that way. I'm not bitch made. I dealt with it that way. I was like, yeah, okay. It was shit. Yeah, it was shit. I went through, kind of funny, because like this shit happened, that shit happened, and that's kind of funny memories. That's what I'm focusing on. That's fine, you know? You put a smile on there and you go on. So, it makes me kind of want to hug him, because I feel that shit, you know? Anyway.
And you know, I kind of got used to this, and it was normal. So I would try to improve myself and, you know, like make myself look better and try to do this, and it would just be met with the same outcome, which was a massive failure. Big surprise. You know, being a level 60 warrior isn't as attractive to women as it is to other 16-year-old guys. And so anyway, I had this happen, and you know, I eventually kind of got to the point where I was more comfortable with that, and I stopped really caring as much about what, you know, like people would think about me, and, you know, in general, just like people's perception of me. And this kind of got worse as time goes on, and
Yeah, this is where I take a significant turn away from what Asmongold is saying, where I, instead of like thinking, I don't care what people say, let me just be a dirty fucking hobo, let me be a fucking DJ troglodyte in my own house, I did the opposite, and I was like, fuck everyone, fuck everything, I'm gonna be this fucking swag lord or swag lady now. I'm gonna be this like amazing fucking magical unicorn that nobody can ever dream of having, or even touching, or even fucking looking upon, you know. And fuck everyone, and I'll do that. I'll be so fucking special, and I did that to the degree that I could. You know, I did that to the degree I could, and you know, big surprise, as you know, Asmongold says, it worked. And the perception people had for me, and sometimes, let me tell you, sometimes it fucking blew my mind. When people would tell me what kind of energy they were getting from me, like at that point I had forgotten that I had these thoughts several years ago, because I was there, I was a fucking unicorn. And it felt nice, and I just, you know, eventually all the bad feelings washed away, and I stopped doing it because I wanted to exact vengeance on mankind, like some kind of fucking Black Sabbath song. All right, I just felt good. I felt like I had accomplished something with myself, and this is why also my self-image is very important to me. By the way, just, you know, hint there, because I bring it up quite often. It's not because I'm narcissistic; it's because it saved me from emotional ruin. Okay, and for me, it signifies what I can do if I fucking want to. Okay. Because reaching a point where you walk into a fucking club, which you didn't even know, own, a night ago, and you walk into that fucking club and it's fucking yours. That club, I wanted it. I took it. And you walk in there, people are fucking staring at you. They know who you are. They know who you are. And to them, you are like, they have to look up to see at you. That's how they looked at me. As if they had to look up to me. I didn't realize, but, you know, after certain... Because, you know, I continued being myself, of course. And by then, as I said, I had let go of any thought of, like, teaching people a lesson by being super pretty or something, or super cute, or, you know, all that shit. I didn't care. I just enjoyed what I had become, you know, and what I had managed without even realizing. And what happens then is, like, you talk to some people and they're looking at you as if you're some kind of important person, which you're not. You're just a piece of shit anyway. And they go like, you know, you look like someone who like commands authority, and I don't know if you've noticed it, but like, you always walk in a certain way, and you have this certain gait and this air about you, and you know, you're confusing, but in a good way, because like, you're clearly male, but you're wearing like these long skirts and these goth clothes, and it looks fucking amazing, and it's trippy as fuck, and it's like sexy, and like, you don't talk a lot, and you smile, and that smile is like, and I'm like, are you talking about me? Like, you know, are you fucking talking about me? It's like I couldn't recognize any of that. I couldn't recognize any of that myself. I was like, I'm just, you know, yeah, I'm cool, I guess. Yeah, I guess I look kind of cool, because I did pay attention to my appearance then. I mean, I still do now, but not to that degree. Like, So I guess that's where that's where you would say that I took a turn from what Asmongold did, where I was like, is that how you're gonna be? Well, this is how I'm gonna be. Like, fuck you. Fuck all of you, in fact. And especially fuck those who rejected me. I'll show you. I'll become the prettiest person you've ever seen. I will fucking rock you. And you know, in my head to a degree I did. And in fact, in other people's head apparently also did. Even though they were the same persons who rejected me back then. But again, by then it wasn't about that by then. So yeah, it's anyway, let's go on.
I think that I spent like my teenage years primarily trying to disconnect myself and trying to remove myself from the obligation to be a certain kind of person to the public and just to society in general. I viewed society as you know, I never chose to be here. This was not up for discussion. I just spawned in here, and so it's like I have to follow these rules. I have to do all these things. I have to be this kind of a person. And then, you know, when I was like 17, 18, 19, I asked myself, well, why am I doing this? And so I stopped doing all of that stuff, and I've done many degenerate things, none of which I regret. Nothing at all in my life that I've ever regretted at all. But you know, I would do things that a lot of people would consider to be very improper. Let's just say that. And so I never really viewed myself, I never really viewed it as like a good or a bad thing. I just, you know, simply existed and I did what I would do. And that was it. And at that point, I pretty much had completely disconnected myself from the perception of other people. And this was at the same time, like growing up, my mom was, I think there was maybe 2 years or so where she made above the poverty level in terms of income. And so we basically barely skated by most of the time. And primarily the reason for that, honestly, is because my dad always paid child support, etc., at least until I was 18. And, you know, all that time, you know, she was able to skate by with that and pretty much survive. After high school was over, then obviously like that stopped, and then she wasn't able to support herself, so I was having to figure out ways to make money and try to like piece together money. She would borrow money sometimes from my dad, and it was in general like a very, very negative situation, and so we never really had any money.
So I don't know what he's gonna say next, but this was exactly a turning point in my life where things went that way, like he's describing. I was fucked. I was absolutely fucked. I was sure that I was gonna die poor. I was gonna die on the streets like a fucking bum, you know, like a fucking dog, literally. I was sure of it. I was definitely sure of it. And that's when the whole thing, which I've talked about sometimes, started, where out of nowhere I came upon like a person, and they paid for most of that club for me to co-own it. I'm gonna say this. My parents did help. It always felt like it was more out of a reaction because they wouldn't want someone else to take care of me. But that's because they always like to control me. So in their head, if someone else took care of me, it takes control from them. You understand what I'm saying? Because my parents are both narcissists, like certified, diagnosed narcissists. It's narcissistic disorder. I don't know the terms, but I'm not talking about feeling pretty. I'm talking about being a manipulative, controlling son of a bitch who wants to have emotional punching bags, and the best available and most vulnerable is, of course, a little kid, right? Or somebody who you have, I don't want to say the G word, but you have coerced into remaining an ignorant little shit who can't take responsibility, who can't do this. And by the way, what I said before comes after this turning point. All of what I said before. right before this. And so that person literally took over everything that had to do with me. That person was a friend of the family. She was she knew the situation better than myself at that point, having known my parents for quite a long time. She always viewed my parents, not both my parents, but my mother specifically, as her own daughter. And she did that then. And ever since that day, she was then taking care of me in ways that taught me a lot and helped me develop further my own like moral compass, my own morality, and the person that I want to be. Because the way she treated me immediately made me think, this is how I want to be. I want to be in a position where I can help people accomplish their potential if I can, somehow, if they're worth it, if they deserve it. And while that might sound judgmental, you know what? It might be. Because not everyone is, you know, a good person, for example. And so I was like, yeah, I wanted to be like that person for sure, like the person that helped me. And she, you know, and that's where I think my story like completely diverges from anything that Asmongold might add now. Because the next 15-20 years from that point on were literally a fever dream in the best way possible. It was a complete fever dream. I was living the life of a rich person, but I wasn't rich myself. And that was such a fever dream, because like it was to the point where I would be like, hey, I want to travel to Germany tomorrow, or the next day, whatever, or the day after, because I want to attend like Wave Gothic Treffen. What about it? And what about it? Simple. Here is like an amount of money which I'm not gonna name, sorry, and have fun. And also here is another amount with which you will live the next 10 years until I, you know, finish building you a home, which is the apartment that I'm in right now. Which is also why my mother never went through with actually naming me as the owner, even though she had reassured that person that she did so, since that person intended this apartment for me. This is why now it is so fucked that it took 3 years to resolve, and it's still not resolved because, again, as I've said, my mother right now is not in a condition to visit a lawyer or anything, and so I just have to wait for this to resume until, you know, finally it is in my name as it was always intended, and I can rent it or sell it and fucking live here and go live my life. And until then, I'm just in a permanent limbo. But that's beyond the point. The point is, those next 15 years, 10-15 years, my lifestyle was fucking large. I was living large. Ever hear the expression? Yeah, that. I was large, dude. It was like, yeah, I don't give a fuck, you know? And I always tried, I mean, to some degree, not to an extensive degree, but to some degree at least, I always tried to help others with like the money that I had, which I did a few times. I'm happy that I did. And my God, it's coming from like what Asmongold is describing, where you just have this feeling that like this is it, you're gonna fucking die, like there's nothing you can do, it's game over, completely game over. to then being as I was for 15 years, to then to now being steadily and rather swiftly going back to the point where you don't even have, you know, you can afford your rent. Well, not rent, but like you can afford your, what is it called, your not your rent, your you know, when you can pay your bills, at least that kind of thing. You can afford like that, you can pay your bills, but everything else around you, even though it's luxurious, even though this and that, they are remnants of a time where you were literally printing money out of your ass. But if you saw it now, like if somebody didn't know me and they saw me, like, you know, I have like 2 fucking PCs here. I have whatever, I can, you know, huge kitchen. It's like I've got like a fuck ton of clothes. How would anyone imagine that right now I could be wanting, right? But I am, because all I can do is every now and then spend some money on like Guild Wars 2, because that, you know, it's my escapism. I can't even afford to be permanently paying like my Final Fantasy subscription, even if I wanted, which I don't want because it's a shit game, or that's my opinion right now. I can't buy clothes anymore. I can't go out anymore. I can't do anything anymore. I'm just here in a nice place with my PC and myself, and that's literally it. You know, that's literally it. That's my situation. And anyway, I'm not even sure why I'm telling you this, but like, I just wanted to say that like I can relate to what Asmongold says about the being poor thing, and like being absolutely certain that you're not gonna make it. Yeah.
Was a time where, you know, I was pretty much, ironically, at the peak of my degeneracy. I was probably one of the highest rated warriors in WoW. At the time, it was great, but not necessarily in real life. And so at this point, I had pretty much completely disconnected myself from the way that people saw me. And I stopped caring about the way that people saw me, because I pretty much gave up on being like a normal person. I gave up on being accepted by the public. I gave up on living a normal life, or, you know, having a family or anything like that. I just felt like I just was not capable of that based off of my experiences that I had. And I had many other ones too. Like I stabbed somebody and a few other things too. I probably wouldn't even say, because they would too drastically alter people's perception of me. But either way, you know, a lot of these instances where I kind of was like, okay, this is bad. Maybe it's better that I'm, you know, quarantined in my house.
I mean, dude, if you think that this is gonna change the perception of people about you, that is why you should share it. That is why you should share it. Because if their perception is based on lacking information, do you really want that kind of thing? Are you that high on your success that you wouldn't tell people who the real you is? But I guess this video is a step towards it, right? I guess it's a coming out of the closet kind of video for him. For me, it's always been the opposite. I was always out of the closet about everything. Even my gender, even my preference in clothing, even a lot of things. I pushed real hard. And when it comes to morality, and when it comes to things I've done, oh boy. If you search my Random Reflections collection of videos, my playlist Random Reflections on YouTube, you will discover things about me that might make you like change your mind about me. And no, I haven't knifed someone as Asmongold apparently has. I've done other things. Most of them, you know, kind of random and kind of like, you know, that kind of thing. I don't think I would ever stab someone, but, you know, then again, I did already say that, like, my moral compass may be weird, but yeah, I wouldn't stab someone. but I've been in some situations, and I've had some thoughts, and I've experienced some things, and I've talked about that in my random reflections videos of the olden days. And yeah, no, I'm 100% of the opinion. I mean, to me, it's so easy to talk about these things. I mean, did you know, for example, that I have literally been in a situation where I was so fucking sexually charged that I just couldn't fucking I couldn't fucking get off the high of constantly being, you know, in need, to the point of where I even like attached a dildo on a wall just to have it ready, because I would come back home and I would be like so fucking horny or wet that I don't know, it was crazy. And all of this is like, these are things that I don't particularly think that I want to hold back, because like if that shit is gonna change your perception of someone, let it be. You know, let it be done. Fuck it. Like, I don't care what you think about me. If you don't like me, you just won't watch me. It's no big loss for me, and I prefer to be honest and open, you know? And I prefer that people who watch me or hang out with me or whatever, especially in real life, are people who accept like all the little insane things about me, you know? I just, you know, yeah, he stabbed someone. Okay, cool. Whatever. Yeah, bad for that person, I guess. I hope they're not dead or something. Because that would change things, but whatever. But holding it back is kind of... It's kind of cringe. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of cringe. Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of stuff that like... Which even what I described is like such a small example, right? For example, I came very close, or rather I did actually, but then it was reverted by a higher power. I'll explain. I had two friends, two people who were like not close to me, but I knew them. We had spent time in my house. It wasn't impersonal. They weren't just acquaintances. They were two people who worked for me back then, and they did something bad that damaged some equipment, which involved fire, which was very stupid. The sheer stupidity of that made me want to literally ruin their lives at that point, because I found it absurd that they endangered like other people with fire because of sheer stupidity and incompetence. And so I went to them and I was like, you're fired, both of you. You're not gonna work anymore. Which to them, that was huge, because they were both kind of like, you know, scraping by as performers in the club. And I fired them. Maybe I'm a horrible person. The thing is, I don't care. And so, yeah, no, this one was like totally on them, because they were... I had explicitly prohibited them from standing too close to any equipment with their equipment, which was for fire dancing. But they were feeling fancy, and they were... You know, they reassured me that they have the necessary skill to actually, even though that stage was narrow at that time, that they can pull it off, and they didn't pull it off. And a speaker started burning, some cables started burning, people had to be moved out of the club. It wasn't good, and then I fired them. And so, well, of course, then the other guys who with whom I owned the club and who formed like 51 or 52% of the stocks, let's say, of the shares, not stocks, the shares, they overrode my percentage, because my percentage was like, what, 49, 48, something like that. So theirs was bigger. So I was obligated by law to you know, to stand down on that one. And I did, so they rehired them. To which I felt nothing. I was like, as edgy as it sounds, I was like, okay, yeah, well, whatever. To me, it wasn't personal. Firing them wasn't personal. Them being back didn't feel like they scored one on me. I didn't feel that. They probably felt that, but like I didn't feel it. I was like, okay, well, majority wants you back, you're back. It's easy as that. What can I say? Whatever. It wasn't personal to begin with. I didn't care. But I did care that they were morons. And that's why I fired them. So I've done that. I've come close to, well, basically I literally did it. I didn't come close. I literally did it because, like, consider if the other guys agreed with me completely, and these two performers weren't hired back, right? Well, I had literally fucked their lives at that point, at least for a short while, at least for several months, and unless, you know, somebody else would hire them, which was unlikely for the time being. So yeah, that was me just casually ruining two people's lives because they burned the speaker and some cables. So I've done some weird shit myself. Not a stab, you know. I haven't stabbed anybody, I guess. Asmongold has. But I've done some shit. But again, the point isn't to compare dicks here with Asmongold. If I said Asriel, I'm sorry. It's just that I was thinking about a guild member. I don't know, randomly just thinking about a guild member. Who's called Asriel in the game anyway. So if I said Asriel instead of Asmongold, then sorry. But Asmongold has, and it isn't a dick measuring contest, because I would lose anyway because of HRT. but but the thing is, like, you shouldn't hide that shit. That's my opinion. Like, if Asmongold was here and we were having this discussion and that discussion was private and we're talking to each other, I would definitely tell him, like, I don't think you need to hide that from your audience. I don't think you need to hide anything from your audience. Like, if you've done something you're ashamed of, that's something to talk about. But you shouldn't be ashamed of what you've done, or if you are, then you've really done wrong. And if that's the case, I understand not sharing it, but, like, what is wrong at the end of the day, right? And I think what matters the most is, like, was it some kind of permanent damage for someone? Was it some kind of, like, irreversible situation? If not, I think you can share anything and have a laugh about it at the end of the day, so that, like, you know, you exercise it a little bit, you demystify it a little bit, you make your peace with it. You do hope the other person has made their peace with it, and if they haven't, from a point on, you're just not responsible for that anymore. If you're paid your dues and done what you can, and that's it then. And you should share, like, everything, because, again, I wouldn't want to have a friend who doesn't know about me. It's so scary. The thought of having to maintain a friendship or a relation or anything, romantic or not, with someone who just doesn't have a clear picture about me, the thought of me having to permanently hide something about myself from that person, that is so tiring. It feels so tiring. It feels exhausting. I can't do it. I would never do it. It's exhausting to me. And maintaining a lie or silence about some things is exhausting. Might as well just say it, you know? Which, I'm not saying go around and, like, start a Twitch channel or a YouTube channel and start telling people about random shit they don't want to know about, but, like, if it's a video where you're opening up, or like now, what I'm doing right now, which is, like, basically just streaming to you and talking to you about my experiences, as not compared, but, you know, just, you know, just opposed is the word, or like in parallel to, I guess in parallel to, right? To what Asmongold is saying. I will talk about everything, I don't mind it. And I think so should he, I think. Because I mean, at that point, like, you literally had a dead rat alarm clock. You didn't wash for a month. By the way, I did the same, and honestly, it wasn't that bad. More a meme that he's, you know, playing on than a literally unbearable situation. Like, I was like, yeah, I can do that. And I tried it, and for a month I didn't wash. And you didn't notice. Nobody fucking noticed. Nobody could tell. So either I have some kind of like divine fucking glands that allow me to like not ever smell, which could be true, at, you know, kinda, because again, I don't sweat easily and I don't smell easily. Quite the opposite, in fact. Or you know, I don't know, or it's not as terrible as it sounds. As simple as that. Like, I did it just to see, for real. I barely washed my hair. I was just rinsing it with water once a week, and I didn't wash for a month. And it really wasn't that bad, quite honestly. One thing he said was accurate, based on what he said on the video where he finally washes. It feels strange to wash that one first time. You're like, it feels like soap is not working at first. It feels like your skin is different after that shower, after you have that bath, after you wash. You can tell that there is difference there. You can feel it. Like, you run your hands, your fingers on your skin, and you're like, wait a minute, you know, that's nice, that's soft, you know, it's nice. And but other than that, I guess I'll tell you what happened. Like, since I'm bringing it up, I'll tell you what happened towards near the end of that month, like 28 to 32 days, which is like, I guess, was my limit. I started feeling itchy, as in I would often catch myself scratching. Nothing crazy or nothing you can't conceal, and nothing that would look out of the ordinary to another person. But you do catch yourself kind of like, not scratching, it's like a discrete peeling off of your skin, of the various particles of dead skin and dust and dirt that you've collected. At which point, I immediately knew it's time to fucking go take a bath. I knew it was the end of my journey, of my scientific journey into Nurgle worship, into passive-aggressive Nurgle worship. And I think that's the upper limit that any human with any decency would have. Ick for baths, showers all the way. Nah, both are very fine, actually. I do enjoy both quite a lot. And showers are fine, I guess. But baths are also pretty fine. You can take a shower in the bath and meet halfway through, which is what I do. At which point, if you want to just lay down and have like the water splashing on you and just being, you know, laying in the tub, you can do that. But then you can also get up and have a shower normally. You know, it's kind of it's nice to have a bathtub. It's really far more handy than having this weird cubicle that you call a shower. Like, I don't like that. You can have my bath allowance. Oh, well, I don't need it, fortunately, because that was a one-time experiment. But I don't use a bath anyway. I see. You say that, but it's an acquired taste. Like, you try it and it kind of grows on you, and sometimes you just go like, yeah, why not, you know. So, but it's not something I would do every day. I mean, to me, a shower is more practical, I guess. It's enough, I'd say. It's not more practical or less practical. It's like, it's enough to shower, let's say. But I do like to feel like I have space, you know? After a month, stuff was growing on you. No, not really. It was like you wouldn't, again, you wouldn't know. If I didn't tell you, you wouldn't know. You just wouldn't know. Simple as that. You really wouldn't know. I think somewhere midway through, I noticed at one point, for example, some smell. That one was coming mostly from my armpits, even though I shave. Well, not shave, but like I'm hairless there. English is not my primary, so you know, if I'm English, if I'm not hasty with my words, what I would have said is that, like, due to hair removal with laser, I just don't have hair there. But the first thing that came to mind to say that relates to not having hair was shaved. So that's why I said shaved. And anyway, now that I corrected myself and clarified, even though I'm hairless there, I started noticing at one point a bit of an odor, which I wouldn't call unpleasant, but I would call noticeable. As in, you know that this is body odor. You know it's body odor. There's no doubt about it. You know that's someone's armpit. And it's yours because it's attached to you. And at that point, what I did was, well, simply go to the shower, rinse with water rather thoroughly, but no soap. Just rinse with water, no soap. And then I smelled fine again. So I guess what you see in TV, on TV or on series, like that you might watch on Netflix or whatever else you watch on, where, for example, there are survivors and you know, you would expect them to be like absolutely stinky, but in reality, just because they have some napkins and they just wet them and they kind of like rinse and rub, yeah, it can work to a degree. Like you can get used to that, I'd say. You'd be worried about your in and out bits. You would ideally want to rinse there, like thoroughly. You would want that. And trust me when I say this, if you know that your circumstances are going to lead to you not having access to showering or bathing, shave. Hair, I don't know how you would deal with hair. I don't know how you would deal with body hair and being washless, not washing for a month. I do not know. I don't want to know. I think that would exponentially make things worse. I'm pretty sure it would, especially for the bits that you're mentioning, you know, especially down there, back and front. Like I can't fathom. I'm shaved there. And this time I say shaved because literally shaved. I don't laser those parts, okay? I don't laser those parts, so I shave. And I think if I wasn't shaved there, I think at one point it would be noticeable to me, and probably also water would be not a good solution. Would probably make it worse if you're not shaved. Would probably make it worse. A chicken wrap. Oh, okay. Tasty. Yeah, let's go. I can keep this video right here at 11 minutes. Because there's more to... You know what? I'm gonna keep this right here. This is like so fucking interesting. That I'm keeping it right here. And I'm gonna continue dissecting this and sharing parts about my own like history or whatever you want to call that, my Daphne lore. Because this turned out from a potential like lol cow to something wholesome and touching to me, and very nostalgic, and also I feel compassion towards Asmongold now. I'm rather proud of my little collection of tabs. Though to be fair, these are gonna go because these are just like a shopping list that I'm planning for the rig that I want to maybe consider, if I can get this. So all this slice here is gonna go very easily. And then you have this slice here, which is just like for Guild Wars, temporary goals, short-term temporary goals that I have, which they're gonna go. So more than half is gonna go eventually. So I'm fine. Especially considering I have to be keeping up my my Netflix and whatnot. It's not really that bad, all things considered. These two are gonna go as well because they're literally just learning my rotations for 2 classes, which by now I know them, but I want to take another look because I started playing them again recently. So, I wanted to just have it here. And especially Power Did Die, like I'm gonna need this. So literally a lot of it is like useless. They're gonna go. And these YouTube tabs are also gonna go. Because this is shit that I want to either keep as music for my stream, for my workouts, or these two are stuff I want to talk with you about, like just to discuss it like we're discussing Asmongols. So, if you think about it, with all this information, it's like actually very few tabs. No, you're not the weird one. It's just that like I keep what's necessary, let's say. If you go into modding games, you will see that this all is modding, for example. These are nothing. I'll delete them very soon. This is a just in case folder, which I'll delete at one point. XCOM will go. This will. I don't even know why I have the right client here. I don't even know why I still have the Final Fantasy stuff. They're gonna go. So you're not weird. I just expanded a little bit. With that, I'm going to be right back. I see what you got. We'll see how I'll do it if I ever get my new PC and reinstall Skyrim. And then we'll see, because it's gonna be different, because I won't have NMM, I won't have like these folders. It's gonna be different. And I do like a clean desktop in general. I do like a clean desktop. But I'll take it a bit back to what we were saying, or what I was saying, which is to do with cleanliness and hygiene. I would never do this again. I would never go another month without washing. I do much prefer the feeling of being clean. But I'm pretty sure your mind can adapt, because mine did. And, you know, after 2 weeks, I was just not thinking about it anymore, in a good way. I was aware. It's just not that I was thinking about it actively, but I was aware that, like, yeah, I'm unwashed. I do believe, honestly, that as crazy as it sounds, which it shouldn't sound too crazy, but still, unless you experience it, you might not fully comprehend the magnitude of effect. But what you're eating and whether or not you're drinking a lot of water is going to help a lot. If you're smoking, it's going to be noticeable from your body odor. If you're vaping, it's going to be noticeable. I'm sorry, but it is. I know, because I was vaping during. What you eat in general in your life will affect you during that period. It's going to affect you. So, you know, if you do everything right, I guess you could maybe even go like 2 months without. But seeing how I was after a month, and listen, in general, I just don't eat a lot of junk food. I generally eat good food. There is some cheating days here and there, like maybe once a week, maybe twice a week. But even when I have junk food, it's relatively tame. It's nothing crazy. I'm not getting like nachos with like whatever chili con carne and like 50 different sauce and dressings. And it's like, you know, I'm careful. And so in general, maybe that's why I lasted a month. And I would also do my laundry. So I was wearing clean clothes, and I wasn't working out, and I wasn't having any physical activity of any significance. And I think all those played a role and helped me last throughout a month without much trouble, except for the last few days, as I said, where I caught myself peeling dirt off my skin, and I was like, that's it, I have to wash. But that month, other than that, you know, due to my lifestyle and my habits, was pretty smooth. For a whole month of not washing, that was pretty smooth. But a small parenthesis, I was rinsing with water. My hair and my body. I was rinsing, and I was rinsing well. Like, I'd spent like 15 minutes in there, hot water, rinsing, you know? No sponge, just my hands. Do I recommend it? No. Did I like it in the end? No. Would I say it's beneficial to do it? No. I saw no benefit. I saw benefit for my hair. So my hair was silky. I'm not even fucking joking. If you do it right, it will benefit your hair. But you know what will benefit your hair more? If you also wash it and then go on a period of like only rinsing with water and brushing it very thoroughly. Okay, because if you don't do that, it's gonna look like shit, and there's gonna be dust in there. So you do want to brush thoroughly and carefully, and to rinse thoroughly and carefully. And if you do that for like 1 or 2 weeks, and then you wash your hair, now it smells perfect, it feels perfect, and it looks perfect. And it will look a lot better than if you didn't wash at all, or if you washed often. It will look a lot. It's like best of both worlds, for real. And even my hairstylist can confirm that. Like I told him what I did, and he was like, "That's kind of unbelievable. You know, that's kind of cool that it worked." I was like, "Yeah, it actually felt really nice." So I think the body, on the body side of things, I would say don't do it. There is zero benefit. I didn't feel there was anything different. I didn't feel like I was healthier. I didn't feel like I was smarter or bigger or stronger or anything or sexier. I think it was kind of mid. Like, why would you do it? You know, that kind of thing. I mean, you can just wash. Why not? Why not just wash? Wash every 4 days. You don't have to do it daily. Just wash every 4 days, I guess, or something like that if you feel the need. But I wouldn't do it again. The hair, though, the hair I can recommend. Don't use soap. Like, not washing is the wrong word. Don't use soap for 2 weeks and then use soap. And then go 2 weeks again. Maybe more, maybe less, depending on your hair, but it really made a difference. My hair was down to my backside in high school, so I've been both extremes, I guess. And you know, having told you that I'm a filthy little animal, I hope that, like, you don't think it's permanent, and I hope you will believe me when I say that I've only done this once and I don't intend to do it again. And it was basically for science, like quite literally for science. Though, there has been a time in my life when I was a child that was much, much worse. And it was the one time that taught me that I should actually start washing, because things were going really bad. People didn't know, but I knew, and I felt it. And that was more than 3 months of no rinsing, no nothing. I was a little rebel, okay? I was a stinky little rebel. But I'm just lucky, and I just naturally don't smell too much. But my God, if you came too close after those 3+ months, which by the way may have been 6 months, just saying, it's possible it had been 6 months, because I remember by the end of it, I was found out by my father, who literally just came a little bit closer to me in that day particularly, because he was asking me, like, why is my hair looking like that? Like, why is it so curly and oily? And he came to examine me, and then he smelled me under my jacket, which I was keeping, you know, closed. Not closed, zipped up is the word. Because I didn't want to get caught. I was a literal fucking goblin, and my dad's immediate reaction was to literally grab me by the scruff, literally throw me in the fucking bathtub, and start fucking scrubbing. Literally scrubbing. At which point he gave up after a while, and he was so angry. He was like, he threw the fucking sponge at me and said, you take care of the fucking rest. I can't fucking believe how fucking filthy you are. And he was right. What can I say? He was fucking right, okay? And with that, I will leave you, and I will launch Baldur's Gate, and I'll see you in 10 minutes, and we're gonna play Baldur's, and that's it. Goodbye!